Greetings and salutations, friends. Sorry, distracted here with a. You ever have too many tabs open? Oh, there we go. We got it. Something playing, and we're not quite sure where. And you'll have to forgive me if we dispense with some of our usual uh, fanfare. I was having a problem with the multi-camera setup earlier this weekend, and did not have a chance to resolve those issues. So we'll have to go old school, until I fix that. So tonight, welcome everyone, all of you. I had quite a long and interesting weekend, which I will tell you about another time. And but one of the things that I did while I was hiking this weekend is thinking in general terms about the narratives that we are all fed here, and how the narrative is one thing. There are people with agendas, and we can see that very clearly. And most of the agendas are profit driven. We can see very, very clearly that some people are here for no other reason than, fame and fortune. Unfortunately, the reality of the narrative is far, far different. And we can see that over and over and over again. So I do have some notes that I made over the weekend. And yes, I am aware of a certain goofy show host who likes to shoot his mouth off a lot. But here is what I will say. Um, Come into my web, said the spider to the fly. Goofy has now made fun of my disability 4 times, and we've got clips of all of it. 4 times. Do you know how many community guideline strikes that is? 4. Do you know how many community guideline strikes it takes to nuke a channel? 3. But we'll get back to that. I thought that we could begin tonight with narrative versus reality on some very famous narratives. Um, Previous to the 2016 TTSA and UAP taking most of the air out of the room, as some would say, and becoming the dominant thing everybody was talking about, before that, it was Corey Goode and David Wilcock's secret space program narrative. And in that narrative, Corey Goode claimed to be a secret space program whistleblower. And he went into space, and spaceships landed in his backyard and took him to moon bases and Mars and all kinds of other galaxies, right? And he time traveled, and he was age regressed, and he had access to all of this secret technology, and he was having communications with many, many, many species of aliens from all over the universe and this galactic council, and he was Earth's ambassador. That was the narrative that we were spoon fed. And it was Gaia TV, it was UFO conference organizers. Everyone was feeding us that narrative. Now, fast forward just a few years later, and we get the stunning admission of Corey Goode under oath that he'd never been to space. This is a real problem. Pardon me. Do not disturb here. 1 second. But we'll check in just to be sure. 1 second. So the narrative falls apart as Corey Goode is put under oath and forced to answer a very simple question. Have you ever been to space? And we all saw what happened. The narrative just completely falls apart. But we have seen this time and time again. And it is through the lens of time that the narratives fall apart. And it appears that multiple narratives have been falling apart lately. This Corey Goode, David Wilcock's secret space program narrative exposed for what it was: a profit driven couple of garbage peddlers telling fairy tales, and the narrative falls apart. But there are some other narratives that have been falling apart lately. So the Corey Goode and David Wilcock narrative dominated the UFO community and scene, this SSP false reality, a false narrative, pushed down our throats by multi-million-dollar corporations, million-dollar UFO conferences, and more, all of which had a direct interest in pushing that narrative. And that narrative, that motive that they had to push this narrative was simply profit. Profit drives much of the things behind the scenes here. And what about the Bob Lazar narrative, which has been, that story has been slow motion falling apart for 5 years or more. If you ask me, it was falling apart before Corbell's crap fluff piece, right? But recently, the Bob Lazar, the narrative we were fed is that he was a government scientist, right? And that he worked on retrieved flying saucers on a subset of Area 51 called S4, and he was a government whistleblower, a former government scientist. But as we peel back the layers of deception of the whole Bob Lazar story, we find out that he is not now, nor was Bob Lazar ever, a real scientist, nor is there any substantial or supportive evidence that he ever worked for the government, period. None. He's not a real scientist. There is, however, evidence that he's a convicted pimp, right? And that he declared bankruptcy and owed everyone, including his own parents, gobs of money right before he came out with his story. So that narrative begins to fall apart, and it falls apart brilliantly because the narrative is just falling apart. People got to a former Area 51 security guard who said on the record, and by the way, that's an on-the-record source. It's not one of George Knapp or Jeremy Corbell's anonymous sources. They say verified Bob's story. This is a real on-the-record verifiable source who says he checked all the flight logs. Bob Lazar never flew in or out of Area 51 as he claimed, and he would have had to. And more. Bob Lazar claimed to be a senior staff level physicist at Los Alamos National Labs. People got to his supervisors. Again, on the record, real sources, not anonymous sources like they used to back up Bob's stories. And the narrative there begins to fall apart because his former supervisors say he was a low-level technician. He was never, ever a scientist there. He was never a physicist there, let alone a senior staff level physicist. So what we always have to remember and keep in mind, we'll give you a few more examples. The Charles Hall, tall white alien narrative. This man, Charles Hall, has been making the rounds at UFO conventions and selling books. I think he's up to 5 or 6 books, right? Claiming that he met with, interacted, and communicated with tall white aliens at Nellis Air Force Base, where he worked for the Air Force as a weather person, or was it weather observer? That narrative falls apart under scrutiny, but we got people like Paula Harris claiming that she verified his claims. Yes, she's selling his story. She has a vested, profit-driven motive to verify or to claim that she verified his stories. But what Paula Harris and others that pushed the Charles Hall tall white alien story never told you is that no one bothered to actually check with the United States Air Force and find out if he was ever in the Air Force. And according to the National Personnel Records Center, Charles Hall was never in the Air Force. His entire story begins with, when I was in the Air Force. These are important things. So the Charles Hall tall white alien narrative falls apart under scrutiny. And what I have observed is that it is quite often something I've observed is sometimes it takes a great deal of time for the story to really, for the narrative, the reality to be exposed, for the layers of deception to be peeled back and for us to get to the truth. In the Bob Lazar narrative, it's taken decades, and people are still going to argue. And I heard, I believe it's Jeff Knox yesterday saying he uses whether somebody believes Bob Lazar's story or not as sort of gauge to determine whether they are whether they have any discernment or critical thinking or not. Because for you to believe that story, it's ridiculous. You have to absolutely put aside all critical thinking, do all kinds of mental gymnastics to explain away, his fake education, his conviction for pandering, running a whorehouse, his lying about Los Alamos National Labs and what he did there, his work history, his lying about, having master's theses at both Caltech and MIT, his lying about flying in or out of Area 51. You have to just put aside all critical thinking and accept the narrative. And the narrative is, the men in black erased his education. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. There wasn't even a Caltech program in electronics technology that he claims to have gotten a master's thesis in at the time. They didn't even have a program in what he claims he got a master's thesis in. So the government didn't erase anything. He lied. He made it up. And in that case, the UFO narrative that we were all fed has taken decades to slow motion fall apart. But another narrative we were all spoon-fed was this Anjali narrative. And thanks to a couple of other really great researchers, Charlie Weiser, James A. Conrad, and myself, we were able to destroy that narrative relatively shortly. In a space of a year and a half, her entire story fell apart. She didn't meet any aliens. The other witnesses that were there that night said none of this happened. There's no tunnel. She made it all up. And why? Well, I can only assume that she had a profit-driven narrative. And now, congratulations, Anjali now has been given a very lucrative deal appearing on Gaia TV to tell the same story she told here that we busted as 100% completely and totally fake. But she's still telling the story as if it was not busted as 100% completely and totally fake. So the narratives slowly fall apart over time. We have the Lou Elizondo narrative. Oh, well, I ran a top secret Pentagon UFO program. Yeah, it was so secret that nobody even knew it existed because it didn't, right? We were funded $22 million. No, you weren't, right? It was an unofficial effort. In other words, it wasn't a real official or funded program. It's like me. If I worked at the Pentagon getting together with a bunch of Dungeons and Dragons friends, right? And saying, we're going to be the Dungeons and Dragons group here in the Pentagon. That's what he did. He just made it up. He lied to the New York Times. He lied to Jeremy McGowan. He lied to Lou Jimenez. He lied and lied and lied. And over time, the narratives that we are fed fall apart. And we finally get to see the reality of this. But interestingly, I'm glad to see that so many people are really waking up to these falling apart narratives. And there is a newer YouTube channel, Manikel 2016, which is a person who is a combat veteran. And I was so happy to see this video. I hope he doesn't mind. We're going to put our fair use banner up, but we're going to share that tonight and talk about it because he is just destroying the narrative, just ripping apart the entire narrative of this thing. And I love to see this. I love to see that it's not just me anymore. It was pretty lonely, and it felt like, being a lone voice in the wind sometimes. But more and more people are waking up. And that's all I'm asking for people to do, is don't accept the spoon-fed narrative that you are fed. Question everything and everyone, including me. Don't just accept something as I say as fact. Do your own research. Verify. It's okay to trust, but you should trust but verify. And before we get into the video, we're going to catch up with the live chat. I saw something worthy of celebration earlier, and that is we got a new member. And we want to thank that person, Sweet Cheeks. Sweet Cheeks is a longtime show supporter. Finally got a member badge today. And so, Sweet Cheeks, you can enjoy those extra goodies that are in the members only section here. You get a channel member badge and a whole lot more. We thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of the show, and for helping us to praise the cash. Praise the cash. All right. And before I forget, I am going to do something we don't usually do at the beginning of the show, which is to check in with our PayPal pledgers and thank anybody that we need to. I'll check with the live chat and make sure we didn't miss any super chats. We'll be reading them as we go tonight. We want to thank Sandra for kind and generous $12.76, or I think that's maybe, let me check. I apologize. No, it is $12.76. I don't know if there's a numerological significance to that, but thank you, Sandra, for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of the show. Sending $12.76 to help support our efforts here. And we want to thank Mikey for a kind and generous $2.50 PayPal pledge. We thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support, and helping us to praise the cash, along with Sweet Cheeks becoming a new member. Praise the cash. Yeah, so let me just catch up with the live chat now. Welcome, new member Sweet Cheeks. And by the way, if you become a member during the live broadcast, we thank you we thank you on air. We thank you for that. Just curious if Bob Lazar changed his name before or right around the Area 51 story. Operator 357, not to my knowledge, though Bob Lazar was an adopted child, so he may have had a different name somewhere along the line, but I believe that has been his name since his adoption and most of his adult life, right? No, I think that some people, karma. I'm a big believer in karma. So this goofy guy can run around making fun of my paralyzed eye or my disability. And by the way, does that make him feel like a man? Right? You've done that four times, right? Deb from Sac with a kind and generous $3 super sticker purchase. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and helping us to praise the cash. Longtime show supporter, and thanks for being a member, Deb from Sac. Praise the cash, praise the cash. So I do think it's interesting that he's that stupid, though. He is that stupid that he would endanger his only source of income, right? He has no other source of income other than YouTube. So what happens if YouTube nukes his channel for community guideline strikes? Has he thought about that? And although he's been crying, saying he's got to get a job for months and months and months now, I don't see him doing that, right? My flock is everywhere. Praise the cash, Stephen. We are stronger together. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, support, and helping us to praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash. We do thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. So, I found out about this video today, and I had a different show plan, but I thought it was important because here we have somebody who is a verifiable combat veteran, and he's going to talk specifically about some of the things that Lou Elizondo has claimed and how fake those claims are. And by the way, he would know. He's a real combat veteran, unlike some people claiming they were on secret missions that they can't prove they ever went on, right? It's just my policy, Cal, that I will never direct anybody to strike someone's channel. And I agree. Al Garay says he's playing with fire in regards to getting his channel nuked. Yeah. Elizondo is a remote viewer and a fraud. Yeah, I agree. And I agree, Algaray, right? Do I still see out of the paralyzed eye? Yes. And by the way, he did it again tonight. Now he's telling people that I idolized Peter Falk Columbo growing up. And then somebody in his live chat had to point out that Columbo had a glass eye. And then he acted like he didn't know that. This is all intentional. He even told a bunch of eye jokes on his show, right? After naming me, right? 4 times at least now. That's 4 community guideline strikes. You cannot make fun of somebody's disability on your YouTube channel. It's a violation of community standards, and your whole channel could be nuked. So essentially, by making fun of my paralyzed eye, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times, he has given me a choice to make, essentially, right? Dumb. If that's your only source of income, you should protect that source of income. You should never do anything to endanger it. But that's how reckless some people are. Manikel 2016, I really appreciate you mentioning me. Mentioning you, I'm going to play the video. We're going to play the video and talk about it. You should come on. I'll send you an invitation, right? I really appreciate you mentioning me. Love all your content, especially your work ethic and being so active. Thanks for being honest voice with these topics. No, thank you for raising your voice, and we thank you for helping us.
Raise the cash, raise the cash, raise the cash.
Thank you. I'm sorry that you had I hate when somebody has to send a super chat just to get my attention. I apologize for that, but thank you. We appreciate it, right? Yeah. So giving me the ability to like this is so stupid, right? And it's so clear and like he keeps on making excuses for making fun of my paralyzed eye, even claiming that he didn't know I had a paralyzed eye when he made one of the videos in which he's screaming, I can barely see through the whole video. Like, that's what kind of a toxic person he is. And does that make you feel like a man, Gufon? Does that make Rich? Does that make you look like a good person, a moral or ethical person as you're claiming to be? And by the way, he clickbaited me in his title again, right? And what do we get? Nothing. He's got nothing. Truthseekers, biggest lie. What was it, Rich? He didn't even say. He doesn't know. He just put me in the title so that people would tune in because his show is in serious decline. And hey, Rich, anybody can look on Social Blade and see that we are growing here and have been steadily growing, and that you are taking a nosedive. And there's no growth on your show or channel unless you buy the subscribers. Do you want me to do a separate show on that, on how you're buying subscribers? I can bring social media experts here who will agree with me that you are buying subscribers. Does that make you feel like a man, right? You want to stay ahead of us? He doesn't understand. Like, first of all, he's only looking at YouTube numbers, and that's it, thinking that we're still not past him. But even just YouTube, we've passed him a long time ago. It doesn't matter about the number of subscribers, especially when you're buying fake ones. That doesn't help you. That does not further your cause. But besides the YouTube numbers, he's forgetting Odyssey numbers, BitChute numbers, Rumble numbers, all those audio podcast downloads. We're getting thousands of downloads a day sometimes, right? So why the need to put on a front and pretend that he's still somehow bigger or ahead of us? Or it's ego and nonsense, right? And I think it's funny. I think it's, oh, your poor little ego. Oh, you had to buy subscribers so you could pretend to be bigger than other people when you're not, right? And if you aggregate all of our numbers together, it's no contest, right? And he can say whatever he's going to say. Like, people don't like to be lied to. He's blaming us for his show's decline, right? Oh, when he started making those videos, we lost 60% of our income. You mean when I started making videos telling the truth about third phase of moon, and at the very exact same time, you started making videos lying, right? And by the way, we posted a video while he was broadcasting lies. We were broadcasting truth. In our video section here is the 100% proof that the entire time that this whole stupid dispute was going on, Richie Goofy knew that third phase of moon were hoaxing videos because a hoaxer talked to him about it, told him how he faked the video. And in those private messages, which we got and posted, Rich acknowledges that third phase of moon told him that video was fake and how it was faked, right? He knew. All of his arguments fall out the window. They haven't hoaxed anything in 5 years. They haven't hoaxed anything in 3 years. They have never hoaxed anything on purpose. Just watch that video we just posted. They willingly, knowingly, and deliberately accepted a video that they knew somebody faked with a sheet of glass and some bicycle red taillights, even telling them. The hoaxer told Third Phase how they hoaxed it. The hoaxer told Rich how they hoaxed it and faked it. Third Phase used it anyway. And in fact, that video, which they defrauded YouTube and the public with, is still monetized on their channel. It's still up, right? All of Rich's arguments can be destroyed with that one quick video. So he can continue to say whatever he wants. He can continue to talk his shit, right? He can make fun of my wife, talk about my wife's tits. He can make fun of my dead father, attack my child, my family, right? What kind of a man does that? And, you know, I have been, for most of my life, a student of psychology. And what you find out is when you really confront a liar, they do exactly what he did. They start attacking because they know you got him. You got him. And that video that we posted today, that's what I send people whenever they ask me about this nonsense. And this guy's going to say he's credible somehow. No, I don't think so. So we're going to sample this video, which I thoroughly enjoyed. But before we do that, oh no, yeah, let's go to that, and then I'll go to the other thing that I have to share. We put our fair use banner up. 1 second, let me just catch up to the live chat again. It goes by so fast now that we have so many of you here. Welcome all. Trolly Troll with a kind and generous $3 super sticker, and thanks for being a member. Thank you for helping us to praise the cash.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
Yeah, it goes by so fast now, so I apologize. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything else before we go on to the video. And, you know, I'll have more to say on this. Yeah, Patty says it's called deflection. Yeah, why doesn't he talk about the 100% proof that he knew this entire time that third phase of moon were accepting and using 100% faked videos, that the sender even told them it's fake and here's how I faked it, right? But hey, they never hoaxed anything. Hey, they haven't hoaxed anything in 5 years. That's from last year, right? Well, 2021, but still year and a half ago, maximum, right? So the speaking of narratives, the narrative that Rich and others, because, you know, they want to make the big money with this Dr. Stephen Greed, right? The narrative is they haven't hoaxed anything in 5 years. Well, you know, the least little bit of scrutiny, when you see that he's getting private messages from people that are hoaxing videos, sending him into third phase, telling him how he hoaxed it, he's confirming in the message, oh yeah, third phase told me this video was fake, but I didn't know who it was that faked it. Thanks for letting me know you faked this video. And he kept his mouth shut. He kept his mouth shut about all of this because it's in his financial best interests to, you know, do what the puppet masters want. No one is putting a muzzle on me. No one is controlling what I can or can't say. And isn't it unfortunate that he chose to that hill, right? Amazing. It's just amazing. I don't have words for it, you know? And what he did tonight is he clickbaited everybody to tune in to see what he had to say. And then once again, like all the other times he put my name in the title and clickbaited everybody to see what he had to say. And it is clickbait. Truthseekers' biggest lie. What was the lie, Rich? What was it? He doesn't even know because he's so burnt out that he can't rub the 3 remaining brain cells he has together to form a coherent thought, let alone an argument. And by the way, we have a mountain of evidence here that we are correct. 2 documentaries, this latest video we just posted, catching him in 2 separate hoaxes, right? He doesn't want to talk. He doesn't talk about any of that. None of that. He just tells you I'm a liar. I'm bad for ufology, and he's somehow good for it, right? Incredible. Incredible. All right, we're going to share this video, and then we'll come back to Goofy Goofon. This is a great video.
With Leslie Kean, or Leslie Kean had done an article on Eric Davis in 2017 talking about off-world vehicles. You know, at the time I read that, I was like, oh my God, we recovered off-world vehicles? What the fuck? And this is on mainstream media? And initially I started out diving into subreddit, the UFO subreddit, kind of figure out what's going on. And a lot of people were talking there at the time. And it kind of like became a hobby of mine. Outside of work was, you know, trying to find answers into this.
Oh, I know something about that.
And the players involved and the proof and evidence of their claims, and going through and kind of sourcing out for myself what's true and what isn't true, which is very hard to do.
Yeah, and that's a real problem when you have media outlets that by and large people consider credible, like the New York Times putting out absolute factually inaccurate, incorrect information. It gets confusing very quickly
in this community, the UFO community, which I can kind of get into as we speak further. But I've noticed a trend over time that there wasn't really new evidence coming forward or any substantial proof to back a lot of these claims. It was a lot of default to authority and hearsay in the community.
Absolutely.
That kind of was the
fact. And here, I like this video so much because every once in a while I hear somebody come up with a certain talking point. And here he's going to talk about, you know, default to authority. And I wish I would have sort of realized this and talk about this myself. It's a very good argument in that in the UFO community, you know, you've got these former military people, they're authority figures. Oh, former pilot, great observer, trained observer, right? And we are defaulting to these people based on their perceived credibility and their perceived authority that they really don't have.
Foundation that all this stuff was built on top of. But when you start looking through everything and actually trying to see what is actually happening, you'll quickly realize that there's a lot of fluff. There's a lot of mistaken.
I'm going to share the video in our description here.
Going on behind the scenes, and by the same few key players that their names always come up, and those key names are kind of like, you know, the Eric Davis, Lou Elizondo, Sean Cahill, Jay Stratton, Travis Taylor, Leslie Kean, Christopher Mellon, Bob Lazar, Jeremy Corbell.
I think you got them all.
Nat, whatever. The list goes on and on, but these are kind of that core group that kind of get information from each other, one another, and kind of them as a sum piece. Somehow they come together and build some type of credibility.
And they build a narrative that we are being spoon-fed, and they all work together to do it.
That I don't think is really there or is really loosely connected. Um, so, again, my name is Jesse. I'm a veteran myself, and I've seen a lot of comments every time I criticize Lou Elizondo or Sean Cahill, and I call out their sort of misleading quotes and information that they put out there. I get attacked right away saying, "Oh, what, you don't think these guys knew what they were doing? These guys were military, blah 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 blah." Or,
Yeah, and this person happens to be military, but he is an actual combat veteran, unlike some people.
"Oh, you're going to speak against veterans? Who are you to speak against veterans?" Well, one, I am a veteran, and I am a combat veteran of both Iraq and Afghanistan. Um, and I'm also, I've got 12 years of law enforcement experience as well. I'm a former special weapons and tactics officer. And like I said, I've worked combat operations, both Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation Iraqi Freedom. And I'm currently a military contractor today.
Yeah. So I just wanted to mention that there has been a concerted effort by some people to basically, you got to give Sean Cahill, Brian Graves, Lou Elizondo, you have to give any of those guys who were in the military a pass, because who are you? Who are you to question a veteran? Well, there's an awful lot of veterans that are waking up with questions. They apparently they're allowed to question a veteran's allowed to question a veteran, but I'm not. That this argument doesn't make any sense, and it goes to his argument that people are just defaulting to authority figures. It's invalid. It's an invalid argument. We should question everyone. How many times have we seen somebody claim to be in the military and their military service was fake? Randy Kramer, right? Charles Hall, and 100 other grifters. We got to question all of these people, regardless of their claimed credentials. Check and verify their credentials first and foremost. In their cases, they really were in the military, but I think that they largely exaggerated any involvement they may have had in UFOs in order to make a career of profit out of it right now.
That works overseas in Middle Eastern conflict areas, including Iraq. So I do come from a space of understanding combat operations and that aspect of the military, which also brings me to another point of why I don't like Lou Elizondo. I feel that he kind of has this
Yeah.
made up Rambo-esque quality to him. Like you could turn him into James Bond or something. And
he's got superpowers.
He does nothing to stop that kind of those accolades about him. And you know, he almost implies the way he talks that
I
he
agree,
was a
Operator
superhero
357.
guy when he was a counter intel guy. And one of the things I wanted to read here is a quote from Skinwalkers at the Pentagon. And it says here, as he enjoyed his steak tartar, Elizondo regaled those around him with some war stories, including one hair-raising exploit about his advanced intuition and remote viewing capabilities, and saved his life and the life of his men while on a covert combat mission in war-torn Afghanistan.
He's got superpowers.
That rare breed, an astute, detail-oriented analyst with an open mind. And I just, from the moment I read that quote, I knew I fucking hated Lou Elizondo, because I know what he does. I know what counter intel does. I know what they don't do, more importantly. And what they don't do is combat operations. They aren't frontline operators.
Oh, imagine that.
Tier 1 operators. They're not tier 2 operators. They're not.
Now, this is where it gets interesting, because Lou Elizondo's telling war stories to people, you know, telling people that he saved his platoon or something with his remote viewing superpowers, right? And on a secret combat mission somewhere in the Middle East, right? And as it turns out, that's most likely bull. That's most likely fake, just like his superpowers. He wouldn't be there as an intelligence asset or officer.
Infantry, they're not special forces, they're not artillery, they're not any of those things. They're not combat engineers. They're not kicking in doors. They're not doing offensive combat operations. And to be honest, counter intel is mostly a desk jockey type job, where they are handling terrorist intelligence, right? They're gathering
Exactly. You're
intelligence
sitting
and
at a
stuff like
desk.
that. But if they do go outside the wire, it's after we've already secured the zone for them, and we've already dropped shells out there. So they're not going in there, and they're not on the offensive. If anything, it's quite the opposite. Most of those guys are on post, spending most of their time with the chow hall, and at a desk. And so it kind of irks me that Lou, in several interviews, and I've seen him on interviews with other veterans and stuff. He was on some veteran podcast unrelated to UFOs, and Lou was talking about he's just grateful today that he doesn't, have to get shot at every day, and he doesn't have to take,
In other words, he's full of it.
he doesn't have to worry about being blown up anymore. And I just thought, dude, fuck you. You weren't going outside the wire several times a day. You weren't going out there doing combat oriented missions.
I
It's
agree.
bullshit.
Counter
Counter
intel
intel guys
guys
don't do that.
do not enter a battlefield until the battlefield is secured. And I've had several other intelligence people tell me that. But it's interesting that Lou Elizondo is running around telling people war stories when he likely was probably not in a combat zone. And by the way, he could prove that he was, just release his DD 214. And we could see where he was stationed and what his assigned responsibilities were and what he was doing. And I can all but guarantee you being in combat missions was not in his assigned responsibilities. So what does that mean? That means that we very likely have Lou Elizondo caught in more lies. The web of deceit is getting worse and worse. And I told you that more would be coming out on Mr. Elizondo that would crash and destroy the entire narrative of his. It's starting.
And anybody who is in a combat MOS can tell you firsthand that, yeah, maybe some counter intel guy can be attached to infantry, but he's not going to be. He's not a frontline element. He's not going to be somebody that's going to be doing anything combat related. He's there to come in after we've, uh, secured an area, and he may do some paperwork and gather up some reports, um, to send up to his command staff or whatever. But
Sits at a desk.
he's not a frontline operator.
That's what
And
intelligence
people
operators
treating him
do.
like he's some badass Rambo. I've heard stories about him and his exploits and his remote viewing, and if things got as bizarre as Lou had got Medal of Valor and Purple Hearts and all the bullshit. It's all untrue. And as someone who actually
I'd like to see if there's quotes of him claiming these accolades, because you can check with the military who, there's a list of everybody that's won different medals for the military.
combat experience overseas, I take it personally, that people are letting this guy ride coattails off of stuff that he hasn't done. And I've got some photos here that I want to show. I'll post one here of Lou Elizondo in Kandahar, Afghanistan. He's at the Kandahar International Airfield, and he's got photos, in front of the airfield there, and he's got photos of the Kandahar Airfield Mosque. And for whatever reason, he's like in his mop gear. He's got his mop gear bag, and he's looking like he's like got off mission or is getting ready to go on mission. But he's at a part of the base where anybody who's been to Kandahar International Airfield, that mosque, that's that's not anywhere near the chicanes where you come in and out of the base. He was
Sorry, I'm phasing in and out of existence here. I don't know why. Let me shut down some stuff. So essentially, the Lou Elizondo stories and narratives fall apart, and he's free to post, specific details. Oh, wait, they were classified missions he was on, right? Or his NDA or some. He'll make some excuses for why he's been caught embellishing, let's just say bullying, or, straight making up stories. It's ridiculous.
The image of Lou in front, and he's and then this is the front of the airfield here, okay. And that's where you'll see his other image where he's tucked out front. And so this is me, but he's kind of like putting these photos out there as if he was like on ops outside the wire when this mosque was, um, we fought to secure Kandahar International Airport uh, in early 2001, and by the time Lou had got there, the
Completely.
base was secured. We were literally had a chow hall established. We literally had all our concertina wire up. The base was set, right? It wasn't a fob anymore. It was like a straight up base.
Mr. Ian, send me the YouTube link in
I just
Messenger.
want people to see that this isn't anything that really nails him particularly, but I hate that he's putting good men, women in Afghanistan. We're fighting the good fight and all this other shit. And he's just a counter intel guy. That wasn't.
His DD 214 has an NDA.
Every day, and he
Yeah.
wasn't getting blown up every day. But there were people that were, and I just hate the way he It's not even about what he says. A lot of it's about what he doesn't.
I agree,
say.
Ganja 73.
He won't put out enough out there for someone to be able to call him out on his bullshit, but he implies things. He implies that he's this fucking badass who's seen some shit, and so does Sean Cahill.
One second.
I have 12 years in law enforcement.
That's as loud as it gets.
And so when he talks about him being in law enforcement constantly, I fucking hate when he runs his mouth, because he wasn't in law enforcement. He was in military law enforcement. And that's a completely different animal. Under the United Code of Military Justice. They don't have the same municipal codes. They don't have the same federal laws that they abide by. And so they don't even really, they don't even go by a lot of case law that applies to civilian police officers. So he's always talking about, he's got all this investigational experience, and
Sorry.
he can make predictions.
Some people said the video is not loud enough. I put a volume booster on.
Recovered aircraft would be handled, because he was a master at arms in the Navy. Master at arms in the Navy don't handle crash retrievals for
No,
UFOs.
it's fine.
Okay, that's not the people
that Manico
for that type of situation. He always talks like he's like the expert on aircraft.
He's expert on everything.
Ordnance, and he's the expert on small arms and all this other stuff. He was a fucking master at arms in the Navy. Okay, he wasn't a Rambo guy, and he wasn't law enforcement. Okay, as a real law enforcement officer, I can tell you, and other officers will tell you, a person who is a military police officer has zero experience of a police officer in a city department, especially at a medium or a large size department, because they do things on post. Okay, no matter what military post, you can take the worst military post.
Yeah, and I have to say about Sean Cahill, he's suffering terribly right now from UFO disease, and people need to keep that in mind. His first story was that he was on the deck when they had the Tic Tac incident, and was a witness to that whole thing, and that's fine. But now he's an alien abduction guy, and he's been seeing UFOs his whole life. He's an experiencer. The stories get grander and grander as he needs new stuff to sell. People got tired of his original story, and now he's coming up with new stories that we haven't heard before. All of a sudden, he may have been abducted by aliens. He's making UFO videos in Lou Elizondo's backyard.
Not having shootings every night. They're not having the type, the amount of crime and things going on that they're investigating that a civilian cop will. They're nowhere close. The
I
Counterterrorism is super important.
That's true.
They make things safe for frontline operators that go out there. We get our intel reports are based on a lot of the investigations that they've done. Okay, and so I'm not taking anything away from them, but the way if you're going to promote yourself as if you're a door kicking Rambo, yeah, fuck off. You're a damn intel guy. That's not what you did.
He's a door
That's not what you
kicking
did. So
Rambo.
shut the fuck up. And I hate posers. I fucking hate them. You know. So I'm going to speak out against it. I just felt the need to put that out there. And same with Sean Cahill. You weren't a law enforcement officer, so shut the fuck up. You were a military master at arms in the Navy. And so yeah, I just want to put my 2 cents out there that these guys, people want to default to them like they're these fucking all knowing, like super well trained badasses. And that's the other thing that I keep seeing this repeated thing with veterans are they're the trained experts. So we got to default to veterans because they know more than us. They're exposed to these
Yeah, and
situations more than
that's
us.
very
They
false.
can make better decisions and better observations than us because they're trained. And that's a bunch of bullshit. How many pilots in the military? First of all, the military in general is a clusterfuck. Okay,
That's true.
everything is hurry up and wait. There's a lot of bureaucracy. There's a lot of bad leaders in positions of power. Most of the time, most people in the military will tell you that the people that make lifelong careers are the worst ones. They're the fucking biggest dipshits. Most of the like really solid, intelligent people have a
My dad was in the military for just 4 years, and he said that about career military people. It's like they couldn't make it in the real world, so they just decided to suck at the teat of the government for their whole life. I'm sure there's some people that are good career military guys, but a lot of them not so good.
good head on their shoulders. They come in and they do maybe one enlistment, maybe two enlistments, and they get out. So there's the military is a clusterfuck, especially in wartime. There's a lot of mistakes being made, and this whole thing with pilots and there's trained observers and all this stuff. How many pilots mistake planets for UAPs? How many pilots, since this whole Starlink situation's happened, how many pilots have seen the Starlink satellites and thought they were UAPs?
Yeah, and recently a commercial pilot almost crashed a plane and caused a huge disaster because he saw the planet Venus and he thought that it was a UFO heading right towards him, and he almost nosedived the whole plane. Almost nosedived the whole plane. Patrick Sheehan, with a question: have we ever got a rank from Lou A? He was an NCO. He never ran a Pentagon office as an NCO. I'm not really aware of his rank and his military service. I am trusting that a combat veteran here and others, however, who told me that he likely was never in a combat zone are accurate in their depictions. I'm aware that intelligence is a desk job. You sit at a desk. You're not you're not invading the Kandahar airport as an intelligence officer with the frontline infantry troops, right? And yeah, maybe he didn't say that, but I agree that he implies, right, with these pictures and these stories that he was on combat missions, secret combat missions, right? Yeah, secret combat missions that nobody knows about except him. In other words, from the land of make believe. But thank you, Patrick Sheehan, for helping us to praise the cat.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
And I am aware, I'm pretty sure that Manny from Area 503 does have more details on his rank and things like that. So we'll share that on a future episode just for you, sir. I'll make sure that I reach out to him. And yeah,
How many pilots mistake birds for planes? How many pilots mistake training balloons for UAPs? I mean, they make mistakes, okay, all the time.
people make
They're no
mistakes.
better or no worse than you in your observations. You can trust your own observations. Don't default to authority.
That's a
And
good
that's
point.
kind of the whole theme that I'm bouncing around all over the place, but there is an overarching theme, which is that people in the UFO community default to these perceived people in this community. Let me move this screen over. People are defaulting to these key figures, right? And they take their information at face value. So if Jeremy Corbell says he's got this new video and it's going to change everything, everybody lines up.
Yeah, he's dropping bombs, right?
Jeremy's got the big one now. We got this one.
This was a great rant.
Always,
that's why we're playing it. I just had a good time listening to this earlier.
Sandwich, like it always is, and it always happens, right? Like this, you know, they got the Baghdad Phantom, which pretty sure, I'm almost positive, is either a missile or artillery round, drone, whatever it is.
Yeah, and that's interesting. If it is an artillery round, it may have been captured on film, and that would explain why there's no contrail. An artillery round is just a very good possible explanation for that. But they jump right to the aliens, right? It can't be a missile, can't be a rocket, it must be aliens. No, it could be an artillery round, right? Who knows? It could be anything, but it's in an active combat zone. So maybe it's earthly in origin, but they don't allow you to even have that possibility. They say it can't be, it must be aliens.
It doesn't have any extraordinary qualities to it that I can perceive at this point. And people are talking about, you know, the exhaust plume or the leftover physical whatever after. Have at it. Nobody knows what the fuck it is at this point, but it's not the most likely explanation. It's in a war zone. It looks like a military ordinance. It probably is military ordinance. Okay.
I agree 100%. But so, there's no profit in that. There's no money in that.
The whole alien thing, and this is something, you know, Jeremy just defaults to, oh, the Air Force is saying that this is a UAP. Well, they mark a lot of things that are UAPs that aren't UAPs in the conventional sense, meaning NHI. Okay.
Yeah, who knows?
And so, you know, this is going to be a big nothing sandwich, just like his green pyramids.
Yeah, I will. Stop harassing me. But it's too big to share as a bumper, so just wait, relax.
Him and George Knapp, also, I feel they're being disingenuous. I think that anybody who follows Bob Lazar for 10 minutes realizes he's a complete fraud. Anybody who's biased and actually giving an accurate, honest look into who Bob Lazar is will know that guy is completely full of shit. And it's been verified time and time again. I don't know why people are even still on the Bob Lazar train. I can't understand it. And that's kind of the whole platform.
Yeah, let's subscribe over there, guys. Help them out.
Built off of. And it's just like they keep this thing alive with these like constant.
Yeah, that's why we're playing it.
And they're almost like cult leaders. And the UFO community is like a bunch of cultists. And they're just like, what's that?
Baxter Galactic.
There was a cult that in New Mexico where this guy was saying that there's going to be a doomsday scenario and it's the end of the world, and he gave a date.
Yeah, May 23rd.
We're going to transform and our bodies are going to become whatever, whatnot. I'm not talking about the cult that all killed themselves, not that one, but there's another cult. And that day came and arrived and nothing happened. And then he's like, oh yeah, oh well, actually the date's 3 years from now.
Yep.
And all the people in the cult stayed. Like they didn't see like that this guy's full of shit. They didn't have the conclusion of like, well, he said this was going to happen. Why did he say this is going to happen? And it didn't. No. They go right to their denial because they have this emotional need to believe in this thing. Right.
Yeah. And we've talked about that many, many times. And especially when we heard Goofy GUFON, he put 20 years of his life into UFOs. Right. And let's take him as a specific example. Oh, I've done so much good for ufology. I've dedicated 19 years of my life to this. Well, then you're stupid. You're an idiot then. Because what is the best evidence he has? A picture of a security dome camera and a laser pointer created spirit orb hoax? That's the best evidence you have? Oh, and he's got something that he claims is a humanoid that looks like a bunch of helium balloons taped together and thrown in the sky. Right? 19 years, that's the best you got? Great. And see, the problem becomes that once people have invested too much of their time, energy, and resources into this thing, they can't let go of the fact that it's 99.999% bullshit.
And it's the same thing that I see with a lot of these UFO enthusiasts. And it really bothers me that these people that I think largely are good people, I think most UFO enthusiasts are good people, are getting taken advantage of.
I
It
don't
really
know about
bothers me.
that.
It irks
Maybe,
me.
right?
And
Maybe.
it's all under the guise of like, we have the inside info. We can't give it to you, but we have the inside,
Yeah.
goods. So we're
Perception,
telling you we have
narrative.
NHI aircraft in the government's possession, and we have recovered materials, but we can't tell you about it. But we've seen videos. We know we have these videos we've seen.
Yeah,
Well,
they all do this. They all pretend that they have access to more, better, and clearer information and proof than the rest of us. But when push comes to shove, they don't. It's very clear that they don't. And we get these false narratives being put out there, like people like Eric Davis. Oh, we have crash retrievals. Sure. I'm sure we have crash retrievals. Are they non-human intelligence created craft that crashed? No evidence of that. No proof of that. No documentation. Nothing. It's trust me, dude.
that totally demonstrate, that this is NHI. There's no doubt about it, but you can't see the videos, and somehow those videos aren't
They're not
made
available.
available to the public. And um, it all depends on hearsay.
Yeah, and Eric, it all depends on hearsay. In other words, trust me, dude. Trust me, dude, and hearsay, same thing. And isn't it interesting that Eric Weinstein recently came out and said that people were telling him that all of the UFO videos out there in the public are downsampled, but we have the good ones, super clear images, as clear as you want it to be. And we're going to show it to you. And then they played games with him for months and months and months, and they never showed him the evidence. And there's more people coming forward that basically these UFO circle jerkers, and you know who they are, he's mentioned them. These UFO circle jerkers are getting in with celebrities, promising them that they have, clear videos and clear-cut evidence. Nope, none. And Eric Weinstein made a very good argument. Why, if these people are running around saying that these things defy the law of physics, why is there no physics person who will look at the data and agree with their statements? You won't find a physicist other than a wackadoo like Eric Davis or a wackadoo like Hal Puthoff who might agree with them. But they're in the UFO gravy train, profit train. They have to agree with all of these clowns. It's ridiculous.
It all depends on this default to authority, default to these people who are delivering you the information. That's not a way to prove something. And you're going to be stuck in a habitual rabbit hole of
Yeah,
waiting
trust me,
for the
dude.
things that's never coming. It's a big nothing sandwich.
Coming soon.
Thing.
Big
And
nothing sandwich.
the
Yep.
sooner people get off Knapp and Jeremy Corbell, I think the sooner everybody will be much better off. Let alone, let's not talk about what Lou Elizondo did to Lou Angeles. And that's another thing that really bothers me. What happened with unidentified celebrity?
It's up as loud as it'll go. Let me try
Lou
the volume
Angeles,
booster again.
UFO Jane and Rather Be Squidding, gave a lot of their time and really believed in this phenomena. And I used to get frustrated watching them because I knew Elizondo was full of shit from the very first time I read about his remote viewing. Right. By the way, back to the remote viewing. Again, counter intel people do not do combat operations, direct frontline
There you go.
combat operations. Okay. Even if he was attached to an infantry unit, he did not use remote viewing to save his platoon. Okay. And anybody who sits around and tells war stories when they're drunk at the dinner table to a bunch of strangers is a fucking blowhard. Okay?
Shots fired, Lou Elizondo.
Sit there and get drunk with a bunch of strangers and tell them a bunch of fucking stories and combat stories. All right. It doesn't happen that way. All right. So get off of Lou's bull. And if he's willing to bullshit like that, what else do you think he's not
fairy
willing to
tales.
bullshit about? He's a small little man who's insecure. He goes out there and he presents himself as this fucking superhero.
I'd love to know how tall he really is. I think he's like 5'2". He is a small little man,
And he's a goober. He's a dork.
Shots fired.
And you guys should see with the whole UFO thing on Cahill's or Lou's ranch or whatever in Wyoming, that with the whole UAP deal there, you guys should kind of see what's going on here. It's a bunch of fucking snaky, grifty bullshit.
Grifty. Yeah.
And so
let's film fake UFOs in our
I don't know what I
backyard.
was talking about. I got pissed off right there. So kind of took me off focus. But
Yeah, please no.
either way,
personal
don't
attacks.
default to authority. Just because someone is in the military does not mean that they have they haven't done anything different than you.
I agree, but
and
thanks for
they
clarifying.
are no better than you, and they're fucking human beings just like everybody else.
They
Ryan
could,
Davis, whoever it
though,
is,
but
you know,
he could show
it
proof of
doesn't
that. He
fucking-
won't.
It doesn't matter. You need to have your own observation. Stop listening to these blowhards who
No.
want attention.
Sorry to hear
You
that.
simply want to look at like the core reason of Jeremy Corbell, Lou Elizondo,
Yep.
you know, Sean Cahill, these people, their motivations. Why do they always want to be in the limelight? Why do they always?
Because we live. I'll answer that question. They always want to be in the limelight because we now live in an attention-based economy. And what does that mean? The more attention on you, the more spotlight, the more money you make in this arena. It's an attention-based economy. And these guys are constantly creating these opportunities for them to be in the spotlight. And what do they deliver to us? Garbage information.
Always want attention?
Largely.
Why do they always keep coming back? Lou is retired 50 fucking times from UFO Twitter. He always comes back. He always comes back. And you all think that he's out there pushing for truth and all that shit. He's pushing for attention. He can't walk away from this. This is the only thing that makes him feel important and special.
Good
because
assessment.
he didn't have a real military career that was full of achievements and awards, you know? If you look at where Lou was stationed, he was at mostly logistic bases and training bases. Look at his, he was at what, Fort Buchanan in Puerto Rico? That's like a reserve base where they do logistics and training.
It sounds like a vacation base to me.
I'm sorry, he's not the person you all think he is. Okay, I know that 100%. And
he is not the person you all think he is. He is not the person you all think he is. And again, you're being fed a narrative. And then there's the reality. And luckily, more people are standing up and starting to shake people back to reality.
For veterans that would speak out against him is riding coattails and bullshit. Anyways, that's all I have to really say for now. I'm going to be making more content in the future. And I'll be putting some more content out there as well to, you know, my 12 followers, which is like nobody.
Well, hopefully we can help with that.
I apologize if I've ever been hard on somebody. I'm willing to admit that on UFO Twitter, I've been blunt and kind of an asshole to people who I see are either brainwashed or people.
That's very necessary sometimes. And by the way, you can help him have more than 11 followers because we put the description. In the description of this video, we just put video we shared. You can go over to his YouTube channel and subscribe after tonight's broadcast here, of course. And I'm just glad to see this made my day today because I'm tired of feeling like a lone voice in the wilderness, right? It's good to see other people, especially somebody like he's a real military guy. So when he tells you these things about Elizondo, great credibility he has based on his experience in the military and law enforcement, at least stop and say and question the narrative, right? At least stop and question the narrative.
He's already blocked me because I've gone in on his ass multiple times.
Oh, and they always talk about
that. These toxic people that intimidate people, because normal people, they don't.
Yeah, he pretty much did.
They just want to get along with everybody, and then comes in this goofy-looking incel freak weirdo, antisocial outcast.
No, I didn't do the bumper. It won't fit. I have to play it a different way.
Okay, the guy's a fucking dork, and he's an idiot. And he goes around and bullies people because he's so fucking kooky. He's willing to be an asshole 24/7 and be the most toxic motherfucker where most people have lives and things to do.
Yeah, I agree. Attention-based economy, you know? Actually, this,
See nothing but bullies and
you know,
posers in the UFO community, and it fucking drives me nuts, and it irks me. Um, but at the end of the day, don't default to authority.
there we go.
Don't.
Good message.
And you know, I was a police officer for 12 years. For example, does that mean I was a legal expert? Does that mean I couldn't make mistakes in the street? No, I wasn't a legal expert. I knew laws probably more than your average citizen. Doesn't mean I was
Oh, come
perfect. Doesn't
on.
mean I had every statute, municipal ordinance memorized, every federal law, every case law. You kind of have a general understanding of those laws, but you don't memorize every single one. You go through most of the case law and those things in the academy,
Yeah.
and then you go out
Threat
and you do your
narrative.
job, and over time, you know the elements of the law, the kind of elements you need to develop, reasonable suspicion, and you'll see a lot of cops get baited into situations where they fuck up because they don't have the laws all memorized, right? They're human beings. They make mistakes. That's my
Yeah, people make mistakes.
whole point. So stop defaulting to authority and be a little more skeptical with people that are giving you a bunch of bullshit and they have no evidence to back it up or nothing they can really show you, but they know somebody who's seen something, or they know that there's stuff that they've seen but they can't tell you about or show you.
Yeah, in other words, the trust me, dude school of proof or evidence. And that has been a situation that we've been in here since at least 2016 with all of these people. And by the way, how much money have they made, all of them not having jobs other than UFOs, many of these people since 2016 or, before? That is something we should always think about. Like, do they have a vested interest in continuing to push us with false narratives? Of course they do. It's called money. It's called profit.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Because if you can't show me what it is, what you have, then you're useless to me.
I
You're
agree.
useless to me. Show me the actual evidence. Show me the actual proof.
Yeah, they won't. It's the trust me, dude school.
Show me the data. Show me the observable, verifiable facts that I can verify myself. Otherwise, I'm going to have to take your word for it, and I'm not going to take your word for it.
Yeah, and that's what we should all stop doing. We should all stop taking people's word for it. We should stop accepting anonymous sources. We should stop accepting the trust me, dude school of research or evidence, right? This is what allows the grift to continue. If all of us absolutely demanded proof or evidence of claims, the grifters would be done tomorrow.
Okay? Just because there's a bunch of loosely connected points doesn't mean that those loosely connected points point somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. That's the connect the dots. Connect a bunch of disconnected dots because that's all you got. You don't have any real or verifiable proof or evidence. So just connect a bunch of dots, make it sound compelling and convincing, and you've got yourself a story you could sell.
Okay? And that all too often is people default to, oh, most of the people in the UFO community are talking like it's already a foregone conclusion that we have NHI, non-human intelligence, and the government's been hiding it since 1947. That's not a full-blown conclusion. That's not a verified statement. That's not factual. That's not.
No, at least it's not factual in the form that there is not verifiable evidence to support that conclusion being drawn. And I agree, lots and lots of people. We're going to see more of the term NHI in the near future. I guarantee it. People have already made up their minds. Stanton Friedman was famous for the saying, don't bother them with the facts their mind is made up. He was talking about skeptics, but the same could apply to believers.
Not true. If it was factual and verified, then we wouldn't be debating the topic. Okay, so to sit there and say, "Oh, we already know there's non-human intelligence here," no, we don't.
Yeah, they're selling stories. That's what they're doing.
Anyways, that's my 2 cents. This is again Jesse, my little rambling deal, but I just wanted to put myself out there, and
we're glad he did.
Have some more content down the road for my 12 followers.
Well, I think he's going to have more than 12 followers after tonight. After the broadcast, please do visit the description of our video. Go over to his channel and show him some support for telling the truth and not being afraid to speak out against the narratives that we are being pushed with versus, the reality. Reality is boring, and that's the problem. Now, I did want to share something else, and this is more related to the Goofy situation, because in his clickbait garbage show earlier, uh, Goofy had some points to make. He said, "Why do I go after him in third phase? Why not go after the people hurting ufology?" Um, what what about faking videos or posting 100% fake videos knowingly, willingly, and deliberately is not hurting UFOs or ufology, right? Because it's not just that Third Phase of Moon defrauded the public, defrauded YouTube. By the way, that's fraud. You can't put fake videos and pretend they're real or pretend that you don't know what they are when you know they're a fake video created by brake taillights and a sheet of glass. You can't go on a public YouTube video and pretend that it might be a spaceship or that it's 20 or 30 feet long, right? It's a reflection in a piece of glass, you dummy. It's not any feet long. But the harm that is created by third phase, they are the people that have made this subject worthy of mockery. Whenever you hear anybody say, "Oh, all that UFO stuff, alien stuff, it's all fake," you know who they're talking about? Third Phase of Moon. Because in their case, most of it is fake, right? And they have pushed more garbage, more fake nonsense than almost anyone in the world. And you see, the damage that they do is not just confined to them. Because when they put that disinformation, misinformation, fake UFO videos out to the public, other people take it and spread it as well. And now we see sort of the grifty generation number two, because what we're starting to see now is all kinds of other UFO channels that are reposting all of third phase garbage early videos that were 100% fake. They even admitted they were fake, most of these, right? Oh, they were experimental film projects. No, they weren't. They were fake UFO videos. They were fake alien videos that you put out and scammed everybody with so you could make money. So this, again, false narratives. I'm going to share my screen once again. We have something to share with you just to show you that people, people saying, "Well, what are we doing wrong?" Right? We're not hurting anybody. Well, you put out a lot of disinformation and misinformation, and now more people are taking that same disinformation and misinformation and amplifying it. There's multiple channels putting out a lot of the third phase of fake garbage that they put out over the years. Who's responsible? Third phase is responsible. I mean, do the other people bear some responsibility? Sure. But if third phase never put that disinformation and misinformation out to begin with, there wouldn't be all these YouTube channels that are reposting their garbage early videos or their garbage, whatever, from whatever time frame. One second here. Let me all right, so this is a video by UFO of Interest, who noticed a trend lately of people sorry about that. It is third phase of moon who is responsible for putting out this garbage to begin with. But now the garbage is getting amplified by other less than scrupulous distributors of disinformation and misinformation. This is YouTuber UFO Section 51, a third phase ripoff. He recycled old fake video. And this is the effects of third phase of moon putting out garbage for years. Now more people are taking their same garbage and putting it out again. Congratulations, third phase of moon. You are now disinformation hucksters, disinformation agents putting out fake information. And now other people are taking your same fake information and putting it out again. Yeah, this one goes all the way back to 2012. Third phase of fake put this fake nonsense out. It's the same again. Stupid people. Same video. Run it through some filters. You too can use it to make money fooling stupid people, right? Congratulations. Disinformation peddlers, third phase of moon. This is what they have done. This is what they have created. They are merchants of lies. That's what they deal in. That's all they have. Lies, half-truths, fake nonsense, and garbage. They are garbage peddlers, and so is anybody who works for them. Yep. And please do subscribe to UFO of Interest on YouTube. He's given me permission to play that, and well, it is fair use. So we'll take a little bit of time before we get to comments and questions from the audience about this nonsense. So, for those unaware, we've caught Rich in 2 separate UFO hoaxes, plus participating in a third phase UFO hoax. He participated by keeping his mouth shut about knowing 100% that that video was fake. But we got the private messages and we shared them here, right? And boy, Rich has no arguments because he has no evidence. He puts out a video saying Truthseekers' biggest lie. What was it? I don't know. He didn't prove that I lied about anything. We've proved that he lied here many, many times. But what we did get from him is him making fun of my paralyzed eye for the 4th or 5th time. I think that might have been the 5th time, right? And this is what people do when they have no coherent arguments to make. He has no evidence. We literally have a mountain of evidence that we are correct. And by the way, let's put cards on the table here. My conclusions about third phase of moon is that they began as hoaxers. They remain hoaxers. We proved that they used fake UFO videos and hoaxed the public as recently as, what was it, August of 2021, right? So a little over a year ago, they were making fake UFO videos. So Rich's entire talking points, they never hoaxed anything. No one can prove they hoaxed anything. They haven't hoaxed anything in 5 years. They haven't hoaxed anything in 3 years. All falls apart. Just watch our latest video. That's 100% proof. And this guy wants to call me a liar. He sat there talking to a UFO hoaxer, explaining to him how he created the UFO hoax and sent it to third phase of moon. In the messages, Rich acknowledges that third phase of moon told him that video was fake and how it was faked. And then third phase of moon put it up for profit, pretending it was a spaceship, pretending it was something mysterious or unidentified, when they knew 100% that it was a UFO hoax. They were told how it was made. They told Rich how it was made. Rich talked to the hoaxer about how the hoax was perpetrated, how he created it, and then he kept his mouth shut. But not only did he keep his mouth shut, he went attacking me for having a disability, because that's what kind of a man he is. Does that make you feel manly, Rich? Right? Do you think in some alternate universe that people like you making fun of somebody's disability, is that all you've got? There is a literal goddamn mountain of evidence that we have presented. 2 full documentaries and more showing, and by the way, I'll circle back here. Cards on the table. My conclusions are about third phase of moon. They began as hoaxers and they're still hoaxers. That's it. And we can prove it, because as recently as August of 2021, they were intentionally accepting and posting 100% fake videos pretending they were unidentified. And Rich knew about it this entire time. He was wrong. Yeah, I got thrown out of my own live stream. We must be under attack. Yeah. And where was I at? So, all of his arguments, the minute that you realize that he knew the entire time that anybody saying that third phase hasn't changed and they're still hoaxing things was 100% right and telling the truth. But what Rich chose to do, remember, this entire time that he's been attacking me for having a disability, he knew I was right about third phase, because he was getting messages about the hoaxes that they were putting out. He was getting messages from the people faking the videos, telling him how they faked the videos. And he put in those messages, oh yeah, third phase told me that video was fake, right before they put out the fake video and pretended it wasn't fake. I can't save stupid people, right? At some point, you have to just cut your losses and say, if you are stupid enough to believe this man who has done nothing but attack me personally, right? He has never attacked the evidence, right? Never. What? He says we're wrong in the debunk. Show us. Go through all 4 hours of those documentaries, you coward. Do it, you little bitch. Go through 4 hours of the documentaries and tell everybody how we're wrong and why we're wrong. Do it. Broadcast it on your show. Or are you afraid because you know you can never let your audience see those documentaries? Because no one with more than 3 brain cells can watch those and believe that you are correct and I am wrong. No one. But it gets better, because the entire time he was attacking my wife, my children, my dead father, and my disability, he knew that we were right. And that is why he reacted like that. And now we've got him 4 or 5 times. That's 4 or 5 community guideline strikes on YouTube, making fun of my paralyzed eye. And again, Rich, even a half-blind man can see what a liar you are. Even half-blind, Rich, I can see what a bitter, angry, jealous little man you are, and how you have done everything you could to try to lie your way out of this situation. And our channel keeps growing, and your channel keeps failing. And do you know why that is? It's called karma. And until you repair your karma, the bleeding will continue. And that's a figure of speech. I don't wish anybody any ill will, right? What is that the Tupac saying, right? Just because you're not in my circle, it doesn't mean I want you to starve to death. You're just not welcome to eat at my table, right? He cannot lie his way out of this, but he's still trying, right? He's still trying to lie his way out of it. And he thinks that the best thing to do is to make fun of my paralyzed eye. He thinks the best thing he could possibly do. And by the way, he could have put those 2 documentaries on his channel, what, a year ago, a year and a half ago now? He could have put those on. He could have sat there and did commentary, showed everybody why we were wrong with each of those debunks. What is there, 50 debunks of fake videos that they've put out, right? And who cares, Rich? What if we're wrong on one of them, or even 2 of them, or 5 of them? We're still right on 45. That means they have willingly, deliberately, and on purpose defrauded the public 50 times. But you're telling everybody, go buy their new documentary. Because even though they're substantial and supportive, there's a mountain of evidence that they have defrauded the public over 50 times. Now they're going to tell you the truth. With who? Dr. Stephen Greer. Yeah, they're going to tell you the truth about UFOs with that clown. Great job. And then what does he do? Continually makes fun of my paralyzed eye, because that's what kind of man he is. He's never talked about the evidence in those documentaries. He's never shown his audience why we were wrong. He keeps saying we're wrong. Play him on your channel. Tell your audience why we're wrong. Or are you afraid? Or are you afraid because you know that everything, mostly, hey, we can get things wrong too. But when I get something wrong, I admit it. He will never let his audience see those documentaries. He can't, because he has no arguments. The only arguments he has is making fun of me for having a paralyzed eye, something I can neither do anything about nor control, right? And this, more than anything, tells you what kind of a man he is. And by the way, a disability is a disability. This is no different than making fun of a kid in a wheelchair. That's who Rich is. Do you remember that real nasty kid in your school, right? There was always some real nasty kid that would make fun of a kid on crutches, or a kid with a cleft lip, or a kid in a wheelchair, or a kid with a club foot or something, right? That's who this man is. A sad, bitter, angry little man who never amounted to anything in his life. And, you know, I could walk away from this and not care tomorrow. And that's what kills him. He's got no choice. Got to keep doing that super chat shuffle, right? And keep making fun of my paralyzed eye, because now you have given us all that we need, right? 4, 5 times now you've made fun of my disability. How many community guideline strikes is that? How much do you depend on that income? And you're going to endanger it by knowingly, willingly, and purposefully making fun of my disability over and over again. And then he's such a weasel, this guy, that he constantly tries to lie and say he wasn't talking about my eye. When he's screaming in one of the videos, I can barely see, and there's a goddamn arrow pointing to my eye. This is what he does. He lies and lies and lies and lies some more to get out of the previous lies. But anyway, here's him making an idiot of himself, violating YouTube community guidelines. These are all strikeable offenses. Every time that he makes fun of somebody with a disability, that's a community guideline strike. Great, right? And people are telling me to report him and this and that. I haven't yet.
I don't make fun of people who have disabilities or health issues. That's awful. I wouldn't do that. That's awful. I wouldn't do that. That's awful. I wouldn't do that.
Call me if you need anything debunked. I'm the best at making shit up. That's what I do. I gotta tell you, there's nothing more challenging than trying to debunk somebody when you don't have the evidence. So you gotta lie! That's what I'm doing! I have to lie! I got no choice. I can barely see, because I got one bad ball. But just know this, that I'm doing the best I can with the lies I got. That's all I can do. I'm better than him, because I lie. I'm Kylo Cambion, damn it! I've got one good ball! Give me a break, somebody! Anybody! I'm Kylo Cambion. I've got one good ball!
I don't make fun of people who have disabilities or health issues. That's awful. I wouldn't do that. That's awful. I wouldn't do that. That's awful. I wouldn't do that. Stephen Scambian. What do you say to a pirate with two eyes?
Aye aye!
What do you say? What do you say if they only have one eye?
Aye, Captain!
I love those jokes. Yeah, they're good jokes. What did the right eye say to the left eye? Between you and me, there's something that smells. Ho, 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 ho. He's making fun of disabled people. They're eye jokes. I'm just telling jokes. A man goes to the optometrist for his eye test and asks what he can see. I see empty airports, empty football fields, closed theaters, and closed pubs, he says. To which the optometrist replies, perfect. You've got 20/20 vision. Get it? 2020, the year of the shutdown. What happens after you rub ketchup in your eye? You feel silly. In hindsight, Heinz, get it? What is it called when you poke your eye while putting on safety goggles? Irony. Irony. What did one eye say to another? Stop looking at me. Samo, I don't think that one worked. Now everybody's chipping in. I like aye, Captain. That's a good one. I don't make fun of people who have disabilities or health issues. That's awful. I wouldn't do that.
That's another thing! Making fun of disabled people!
Yeah. Saying one bad ball is not making fun of anybody. Especially the way I meant it. I meant it like a 40-year-old guy. I forgot he had the eye thing when I put that up. I forgot he had the eye thing when I put that up.
I can barely see, because I got one bad ball. But hey,
I don't make fun of people who have disabilities or health issues. That's awful. I wouldn't do that. I forgot he had the eye thing when I put that up.
I can barely see, because I got one bad ball. But hey,
why would I make fun of disabled people? That's what they say. He makes fun of all disabled people. Get me the Scambian lying balls. Scambian. Scambian! I'm not supposed to say it, but Scambian's balls. I know! No, I don't want one bad ball. Ma! Scambian balls. You're the guy who does everything wrong and thinks he's right. And when I say he, I mean Scambian. I'm sorry. I have to do it, guys. I just have to. He might be the worst researcher in the field. But there's not one thing in the last 5 or 6 years that you can tell me they knew was a hoax or a lie or CGI.
Wrong and busted. And our latest video proves that he has been lying to his audience this entire time. And what more can I do, right? What more proof do you need than he's exchanging private messages with people faking UFO videos, for third phase of moon to put out and pretend are real UFO videos. That's what happened. That's the facts. That's the evidence surrounding those events. And he will never lie his way out of this. But he keeps digging himself deeper, right? Remember, when all this started, first he said they never hoaxed anything. Then people started sending him the overwhelming evidence and proof that third phase hoaxed things. Oh, no, they haven't hoaxed anything in 5 years. They changed their ways. Oh, no, they haven't hoaxed anything in 3 years. Move the goalposts, right? Then he says he never moved the goalposts. We have clips of him moving the goalposts. When you say never hoaxed anything, then you say never hoaxed anything in the past 5 years, then you say they haven't hoaxed anything in the past 3 years. That is the definition of moving the goalpost. But he has to do that to fit a narrative, right? And, you know, I don't know what else to say about this. And then we've got the orb hoax and the greatest UFO picture ever taken in history hoax, right? It is absolutely ridiculous. But, you know, don't worry, because there's more. He has put up multiple thumbnails now, clickbaiting my audience into watching his shit show. By the way, do you think that's going to work? Do you think anybody who's used to things like facts, evidence, scientific proof that they get here are going to listen to you, some clown in his mom's garage, or I'm sorry, not a garage, a trailer in his mom's backyard, right? Amazing that this has gone this far, right? And what he said in his show earlier today is, first of all, he said he was a credible researcher. Let me explain something to you. Credible researchers don't get caught faking spirit orbs with a Ouija board and a laser pointer. And he can say he didn't get caught. He wants me to have a video of him shining the laser pointer at the background. Sorry, you were off camera when you did that. Take a polygraph, Rich. I know of a retired FBI polygrapher. He'll fly down to Florida and give you a polygraph and see if you didn't fake that or not, right? Let's do it. But he says he's a credible researcher. Credible researchers don't get caught lying over and over and over and over again. And he does, right? He says he brings a certain amount of respect to the field of ufology. Really? You're bringing respect to ufology by faking spirit orbs with a Ouija board, by cursing people on Halloween with a tarot card deck from Five Below? That's credible. Yeah, he's bringing respect into the field. He also says he's dedicated 19 years of his life to this field, and the best that he has is a spirit orb hoax made with a Ouija board, a green screen, and a laser pointer, and his security dome picture that he claims is the greatest UFO photo ever taken in history. That's what he got for his 19 years, right? Then he says he was the first to call out Jaime Maussan, but now Jaime Maussan is on team third phase, so now he's perfectly okay now, even blaming Jaime Maussan for some of the hoaxes they've been caught in, right? And he says that being on every day is his contribution. No, that's his grift. There's not enough going on to be on every day. He does it so that he could do the super chat shuffle. And you know, that's my opinion. People can take from that what they will. They can form their own opinion, but there's not that much going on. This is such a tiny, tiny subculture, right? So it's funny. First to call out Jaime Maussan. Great, congratulations. You did the right thing once. Then you decided to just, if you can't beat them, join them. Hey, these guys are making a lot more money than me, so I'm going to go join Team Hoax and pretend that they're credible now, right? Then, what else did he say? He said that I talk about David Wilcock too much. Oh, another show on David Wilcock. Go search Gufon's channel for the term Elizondo. How many hundreds of times has he done a show on Lou Elizondo? So that's a little bit of the pot calling the kettle black, but we all do shows on what we have interest in. Sorry if you're not interested in David Wilcock running a hover car scam. We covered that because I am. And we do good work on that. We were the ones that revealed the charity scam, the hover car scam, and the PayPal donation scam, the Pete Peterson GoFundMe scam. We covered all of that. It's because of us that everybody knows what a scammer that guy is, right? What have you revealed about Elizondo? Nothing but opinion. What have you revealed about Elizondo? Nothing. Nobody can show me any new data that Rich has supplied about Elizondo, but he sat there taking super chats for 100 shows talking about the guy, never supplying the public with a single scrap of new information on that situation. Never. Right? So he used the same talking points again and again that he used in the last few times that he called me a liar and a clickbait title and didn't prove anything, because he doesn't have any evidence, because he's too burnt out and too lazy to get any or do any work. You see, the real truth is, in order to really dig in, you got to put like hours and hours and hours into digging for evidence in order to have any. He won't do that. He's lazy and burnt out. He says, I don't lie, I don't cheat, and I don't hoax anything. Well, people are free to form their own opinion, but unless you can pull out a Ouija board without a green screen and a laser pointer, right? How about that, Rich? We'll chain you to the desk. We'll have somebody frisk you to make sure that you don't have a laser pointer or any other means of hoaxing a spirit orb. I'll give you a Ouija board. Show us a spirit orb. You got superpowers. There's only two explanations for that laser pointer hoax. Either you hoaxed it with a laser pointer exactly how we showed you did, or you have superpowers. I know what I believe. People are free to believe whatever they want. And isn't it great that he got caught lying, saying that laser pointers can't be white? He knew what he did. He knew how he hoaxed that. He knew what he did, and he thought nobody would catch it. That he was sitting on a green screen, and if you shine a green laser pointer at a green screen, it appears white. And it cancels out the beam. Then he says he wants me to go after bigger people. Why go after me? I don't know, Rich. You went after my wife, my child, my dead father, my disability. I don't know, Rich, right? He also says that his voice needs to be in ufology, right? First of all, there's no such thing as ufology. It's a topic. It's not a science, unless you count idiots like Rich who claim it is, right? Oh, he's dedicated 19 years of his life. You wasted 19 years of your life. Congratulations. Then he says, I'm a mean-spirited person. He says, Cambion is a mean-spirited person. Have I made fun of your physical ailments? Have I made fun of your disability? And I love the pity party. He says that we purposely, I think he said, we had to hit him when he was down with COVID. I didn't even know he was sick. I don't care. I don't watch his show. People send me clips and I laugh at them and I collect them. And then we make fun videos showing what a liar he is, right? I didn't know he was sick. Would I have put that video out anyway? Probably, right? Does he care about me or my family as he's attacking my wife and children, as he's attacking my deceased father and my father's military record? He knows nothing about my father's military record. Zero. He doesn't even know my father's name. How could he know about my father's military record? But he sure talks shit about my dead father, right? Because I happened to mention that my father was in the Navy? Sure he was. I have all the evidence. I don't need to show it to you because you're a scumball. Yeah. And of course, he couldn't resist. Somewhere in his clickbait garbage video tonight, he said that you could see Cambion is mean-spirited person, and you could see it in his eye. Again, making fun of my paralyzed eye. So, you know, what we got is a clickbait garbage title with no evidence, no supportive documents, no good talking points, no coherent arguments, because he's too burnt out. I've told him before, he's not smart enough to do this with me, and he's not sober enough to put together good arguments against ours. Then he says that I idolized Columbo growing up so that, again, he could make fun of my paralyzed eye. For those that don't know, Peter Falk had a paralyzed eye. He had a glass eye. So, again, making fun of my paralyzed eye. Have you not made fun of my paralyzed eye enough? You little man, you little man. You know what kind of a person has to do that? Do you know just how despicable that makes you look as a person, right? Do you think that that's going to win the argument for you? This is his thought process. Like, well, Steve Campion keeps catching me in lie after lie after lie after lie. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attack him for having a paralyzed eye. And somehow that will equalize things, right? Who cares? Who cares about my eye, Rich? Who cares? What if I have no eyes? Does that change the fact that you keep getting caught lying over and over and over and over again by us? No, it changes nothing. So keep attacking my disability. Keep doing that. Keep attacking my wife, my children, my dead father. Do everything you can to run from the mountain of evidence that we have put forward. His only hope is to stay with third phase of moon. By the way, he cursed me on Halloween. I don't believe in curses, but what I do believe in is karmic justice. And my prediction for Rich is that it will be karmic justice, that he will be tied to the garbage pail of UFOs for the rest of his life and be a bottom-feeding super chat shuffler begging for money, claiming that he's some kind of authority figure on UFOs or anything paranormal or anything. He's not an authority figure on anything other than going on the internet every day, having pity parties and begging people to send him money so that he could give you a piss poor show with no research, no investigation, no documents to share, no written scripts. He has nothing. He has nothing but joining the grift squad. And that is where we're at. And that is where we find ourselves. But I have one final thing to share, and that is, unlike Rich, we have proof and evidence. And when he clickbaits people, he's making money lying about me, right? But unlike Rich, who lies and collects super chats, he was collecting super chats while he was making fun of my disability tonight. Great. But unlike Rich, who puts stuff in a thumbnail, he also put that I was a hoaxer in a thumbnail once in a clickbait title. No evidence of that. Zero evidence of that. He keeps putting these things out, calling me a scammer. No evidence of that, but we can prove that you scammed people with a fake spirit orb hoax, or that you scammed people claiming you took the greatest UFO photo in history, or that you scammed people for the past year lying, saying third phase of moon has never hoaxed anything, hasn't hoaxed anything in 5 years, 3 years, never hoaxed anything on purpose. We proved all that lies. And the entire time that you were doing that, you were collecting money for lying to people. So he can put that I'm a scammer or call me scammy and all he wants. He has no evidence or proof that I ever scammed anyone. And we're known for good research here. I love, he said, I'm the worst researcher. No, Rich, I think we all know who the worst researcher is. It's the guy with no research, right? But back to the lying. Unlike Rich keeps saying I'm a liar, never proved it, never. But we do have proof for all of the lies that he has told that we have caught him in. And we are now up to 50 lies of Richie Grifton. So congratulations. This is a list of 50 lies that Gufon has told just in the past year. Number one, he lied and said I would sue him. He used this lie twice now. No, Rich, show me the clip. I never said that. I said if you continue down this dark and dangerous path of attacking my family, attacking my disability, lying about third phase, that there would be consequences. And by your own admission, your income decreased by 60%. Maybe those were the consequences I was talking about. Number two, he lied and said I would strike his channel. No, I'll pass a polygraph. I have never directed anybody to strike his channel. I never said I would strike his channel. Never. In fact, somebody came in the live chat and asked if I wanted to report him today for making fun of my disability. And I said, no, don't do it. Number three, lied and said I had to go back 8 years to find examples of third phase faking videos. Well, we've got a 100% provable fake one from August of 2021. So that's a lie. Number four, he lied and said third phase. He lied and said that I said third phase stole that TR3B video. No, the guy who faked that TR3B video said that they stole the video from him and used it to defraud the public with. He said that, not me. Not me. Number five, he lied and said, if you hang out with hoaxers, he lied and said that I told him, if you hang out with hoaxers, you must be a hoaxer too. Well, first of all, you weren't caught faking and making hoaxes until you started being on Team Hoax. So maybe I was right, but I never said that. No, what I said is that if you're going to work for Third Phase of Moon, you have no credibility. That's what I said, right? Number six, he lied and clickbaited people, putting my name in the show title, saying I was a hoaxer. No evidence that I ever perpetrated a hoax. It never happened. Number seven, he lied and said I did a terrible job of interviewing Richard Doty because I didn't ask him about the Benowitz case. Anybody can listen to that interview. Of course, I asked him about the Benowitz case. And by the way, he's back to those talking points as of tonight, busting my balls because I interviewed once, right? And I stand by that interview because I was working on a project and specifically wanted to ask him about his uncle and his father all being involved in the UFO file for the United States government. And he confirmed that, and we have supportive documents that confirm that both Richard Doty's uncle and Richard Doty's father have been involved in the UFO file for the U.S. government. I stand by that interview. He's just grasping at straws, trying to make me look bad. Number eight, lied and said I host hoaxers because I interviewed Anjali. No, we've been over this before. The reason everybody knows that Anjali is a hoaxer is because of the excellent investigative work that we did and the interviews that we did, along with the work that we, participated in with people like Charlie Weiser and James A. Conrad. Then we got the interview with her, Wayne, that proved that she hoaxed the whole thing. She lied about the entire original experience. And the reason everybody knows that she lied about all of that is because of the excellent investigative work that we did. Show me a story that you did like that, Rich. You can't. So I don't host hoaxers. I investigate hoaxers, right? He lied and made excuses for Third Phase of Moon stealing a joke fake TR3B video from another content creator, claiming Jaime Maussan gave them that video. But no, the original creator said that Third Phase of Moon stole that fake TR3B video. By the way, Rich, that hoax was within the past 3 years, right? Number 10. He lied and said UFO Proof, who faked cancer, is suddenly credible after calling him out previously. And he did that because UFO Proof was going to help Third Phase of Moon and him make some money with that S4 hoax. Number 11, lied and said if Third Phase had been hoaxing anything these past few years, he could not associate with them, business-wise at least. Well, it's been clearly established that he not only knew about the hoaxes, he was communicating with the hoaxers that were supplying him fake videos to use. So he lied when he said that if they were hoaxing anything these past few years, he couldn't associate with any of them. We proved it. There's private messages, August of 2021, of them communicating with hoaxers using fake videos. He lied. Number 12, he lied and said I started all of this. The timeline is very, very clear. I went on Alien Addict show one night, got in an argument with Third Phase of Moon. The next day, he put me on blast, telling everybody how wrong I am, and Third Phase never hoaxed anything, right? He lied and said my wife was the dancer with the big jugs in my intros. Well, no, she's not, but this is a ridiculous one, and why bring my wife into this? Number 14, he lied and said, I met my wife in a strip club, making fun of my wife somehow, who has nothing to do with this. He also lied and said that I bought my wife a boob job. No, my wife has got very beautiful B cups, and I wouldn't change a thing about my wife. But why is he talking about my wife's tits? Because he's a liar and he got caught lying and he has nothing else. 15, he lied and told people I was begging for money to buy my son a PlayStation. We showed the receipt. I didn't beg. I didn't say anything. I joked about how expensive children's gifts we're getting. I think a new PlayStation, was like $600 or $700 with an extra controller and a couple of games. So all I did was comment about how expensive children's toys were getting. And my wife had bought that gift for him 2 months before I ever mentioned it on the show. We shared the receipt. So he lied to everybody and said I was begging for money to buy my son a PlayStation or expensive Christmas presents. I don't need to do that. We don't use the show money for any of our household or child's expenses, Rich. We just don't. It goes into a separate account. 16, he lied and said Third Phase hasn't hoaxed anything in the past 5 years. 17, he lied and said Third Phase hasn't hoaxed anything in the past 3 years. We proved both of those statements to be 100% lies. 18, he lied and said Third Phase of Moon never hoaxed anything on purpose. Well, the video we just posted today proves that he lied about that. They purposefully took a fake video from somebody who hoaxed it and sent it to them and told them how they hoaxed it. They posted it and pretended they didn't know it was a fake video. That was done on purpose, Rich. You look like what you are here, a liar. Number 20, he lied and claimed Anthony from Unidentified S4 was a dirty cop or thrown off the force. Anthony retired with full benefits and pension, and that doesn't happen if you're thrown off the force. In fact, if you check on Anthony's record as a police officer, he has commendations. He does not have any disciplinary action taken against him for anything. Number 21, he lied and claimed Anthony falsified police reports as a police officer. Call and check. There's no evidence of that. He lied about that. 22, he lied and said Gorilla Gamer was faking his cancer for donations. That never happened. Gorilla Gamer cancer, he posted his cancer diagnosis paperwork and his treatment plan on Twitter. Further advertised, not collecting PayPal, not collecting Cash App, not collecting super chats. Unlike Rich, who was lying, saying Gorilla Gamer was faking his cancer while he was collecting donations. Rich was collecting donations to lie about somebody having cancer while he was doing it. Gorilla Gamer's never been monetized, and he didn't fake his cancer. He posted all the proof of his cancer diagnosis and treatment plan on Twitter. And at that point, Rich continued to lie and said Gorilla Gamer faked his cancer because he looks too healthy. Great job lying about somebody faking cancer, Rich. 23, he lied and said I told him I couldn't be friends with him if he was friends with Third Phase. I never said that. That's childish. I don't tell somebody who they should or shouldn't be friends with. Again, all I said was, if you're going to work for them, you're going to look like a hypocrite calling other people liars, hoaxers, or fraudsters. And he does look like a hypocrite. Every time he tells you Jeremy Corbell is lying, you should just think, well, what about Third Phase in you? Every time he tells you Elizondo is lying, you should just think, well, what about Third Phase in you? Number 24, he lied and said he was talking about my testicles in a video he made, continually saying, I have one bad ball and I can barely see, when he was clearly talking about my paralyzed eye. We saw the clips of that. He lied over and over again, claiming that he didn't know about my paralyzed eye when he made that video. Then why is he screaming, I can barely see, I have one bad ball, right? If you're going to make fun of my paralyzed eye, own it. Own it. Own it. Don't weasel out of it. Own it. You did that. That's what kind of man you are. Own it, Rich. Own it. That's what kind of man you are. You should own it. Number 25, he lied and said that I may have pedophile friends and that might make me a pedophile. No, there's no evidence or proof that I now currently or ever had those kind of friends. And by the way, he later got caught in this lie, saying that he did that on purpose to trigger me, right? He said that on Alien Addict show. 26, he lied and called Paul from the Out There channel a pedophile with absolutely no evidence of that. We can add another one. He lied and said he would never make fun of paralyzed people. That's awful. I would never do that. But we're running out of slots. I only had 50 slots for the lies. 27, he lies to damage my reputation. He keeps calling me Scambian with no evidence I ever scammed anyone. 28, he lied and said I called him a drug addict. Show me a clip, Rich. I never called you a drug addict. You can't, you lied again. Because that's a lie. I never said it. Show me a clip of me calling you a drug addict. It doesn't exist. I would never call somebody a drug addict unless I was, had smoking gun evidence or proof, right? Other people may have, but he's so burnt out, he gets confused with all the people he's attacking of who's saying what, right? 29, he lied and said that we have no evidence that Third Phase of Moon ever hoaxed anything. That was one of the original lies. 30, he lied and said Third Phase don't pay him. Then he went on to explain on the Alien Addict show exactly how Third Phase of Moon pays him, right? And I have the clip of it, right? He's asking for prove they pay me. You explained how they pay you through YouTube ad revenue sharing, right? 31, he lied and blamed me for not being able to pay his mother the rent he owes her, or blaming me for his financial losses because I told the truth about Third Phase of Moon. Don't blame me for your lack of financial success. Maybe people don't like show hosts that other people can demonstrate have lied to their audiences over and over and over again, right? Blaming me for it is, oh, I'm sorry if, no, I'm not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. If me telling the truth about Third Phase affected your grift of pretending Third Phase are credible and they're great guys and they're not hoaxing things or lying to everyone. 32, he lied and said I spent a weekend with Anthony from Unidentified S4 and I guess Ron from Cosmic Neighbors too, figuring out ways to hoax things. No, the topic never came up. We were a little too busy doing a Skywatch and honestly eating. We had a big spread. We had a big party and we had a great time. Nobody talked about how to hoax things. Never came up. But you're going to lie to people about that. A lot of times he just makes things up. He has no evidence of any of this, no proof of any of it. Just throw it out there and muddy the waters because this guy keeps catching me lying to everybody. So let's make him the bad guy. Kill the messenger. 33. He lied about Third Phase, telling Anthony to cover up his mistake by not talking about it and ignoring it. 34. He lied and said I sucked up to Third Phase to be a part of the Third Phase team. That never happened. And in fact, I have a telephone recorded conversation of them asking me to be on the team and trying to buy me off like they bought Rich off with YouTube ad pennies. And I said, no, I have the tape, Rich, you dummy. Why are you lying about that? Why would I suck up to somebody that I don't respect, that I think are the worst things that ever happened to this entire subject matter in the history of this subject matter? My stance has been public and very clear. Meanwhile, you sold out for YouTube ad pennies, right? So how much does it cost to get Rich to lie over 100 times for you while you fake things and hoax things? YouTube ad pennies. That's what Rich costs. 36, he's lied and said I got half my subscribers from him. Absolutely untrue statement. 37, he lied and said he doesn't call people pedophiles. We have clips that, yes, he did, at least 3 times, including comparing Brandon Fugel to a pedophile. 38, he lied and said he doesn't make fun of disabled people. We have clips of him doing that multiple times. Oh, yeah, did you know it's not just me that he's made fun of for having a disability? It's other people as well. 39, lied and said Third Phase never endorsed or supported Dr. Jonathan Reed. Yes, they did. They were in Dr. J's live chat, essentially using Jaime Maussan to say that the story was true. They were pumping up that story before we called it out as being a complete and total hoax. Why? Because one of the people that they also bribed off, Dr. J, was hosting this fake Dr. Jonathan Reed, right? I'm losing track here. Okay, number 40. He lied with zero evidence, saying a certain documentary filmmaker, who I'm not going to name, but he knows that he did this. He lied and said a documentary filmmaker cheats on his wife constantly, right? And of course, Rich, whose wife left him, doesn't understand that you, as a married man, can't have stupid people on the internet saying that you're cheating on your wife constantly, even if it's not true, because it's going to create turmoil, tension, and problems in your marriage, right? But he did that. Why did he do that? Because that's what kind of man he is. He has zero evidence of that documentary filmmaker cheating on his wife, let alone cheating on his wife constantly. That's just what he does. 41. Lied to his audience at least 3 times now, and we have the clips saying that he had to stop doing his show and get a part-time job, or the latest, a full-time job, because his donations were reduced. No, this was a pity party and a lie to increase donations. He's done that at least 3 times and still has not gotten a job. That's a lie, right? And you want to call me a scammer, bro? Keep it up. 42. He lied and said Richard Dolan copyright striked his channel. No, it was the copyright owner of the video that Richard Dolan was in that striked his channel, not Richard Dolan. And that copyright holder warned Rich multiple times to stop stealing and using his work without permission, and Rich continued to do it. So he was warned multiple times. That person didn't just strike him. He lied about that. 43, he lied about my dead father's military career or record. He has no idea who my father even is. He doesn't even know my father's name. So how is Rich lying about his military service or record? Can you show us some records, Rich, to support your claims? Or did you lie again? 44, he lied and said he took the best UFO photo in history. Now, I realize that one's subjective, but it's pretty laughable what he actually showed people. Lied multiple times saying he doesn't make fun of disabled people. Lied multiple times saying he was not making fun of me while telling eye jokes or saying I idolized someone who had a paralyzed or glass eye in the form of Peter Falk. This is one of the latest lies. Never said that I liked Peter Falk, but by the way, sure, I liked Peter Falk. I think my mom and dad used to watch Columbo growing up, right? Oh, and one more thing, you know? But he purposefully was doing that to make fun of my paralyzed eye. And now he's going to try to lie and weasel out of that one, claiming he didn't know when he said that. Just like he didn't know that I had a paralyzed eye when he made the first video making fun of my paralyzed eye. Just like he told 10 minutes of eye jokes on his show right after calling me a scammer and talking shit on me. Then he tells eye jokes for 10 minutes straight, but that wasn't about me or making fun of my paralyzed eye, because that's the kind of weasel that he is. 46, he lied and said I was being sued by Linda Moulton Howe. Completely untrue. Never happened. He's just trying to turn everybody against me and tell people what a bad person I am. Poor old Linda Moulton Howe had to sue me. Never happened. 47, he lied and said I was being sued by Richard Dolan. That never happened. You know, show me the court documents for both these. 48, he lied and said I was being sued by Jimmy Church. Show me the court documents, Rich. None of these people ever sued me. None of them sent me any letters, cease and desist or otherwise. You lied to your audience in order to damage my reputation yet again. You know, it's just ridiculous. 49, he lied and said you can't make a white fake orb with a laser pointer. Well, we pointed out that you absolutely positively can make a fake white spirit orb with a laser pointer, but he's still going to try to weasel out. By the way, he presented no evidence that our debunk was wrong. He just said we were. And he said we have no evidence, right? He said we're speculating. Well, either one of two things is true. Either we're right and you did that with a laser pointer, or you have superpowers. So show us your superpowers, Mr. Liar. Prove you're not a liar. 50, and my favorite, he lied and said he was a credible researcher. I'm not even going to talk about this one. Credible researchers don't get caught faking spirit orbs. Credible researchers don't get caught hoaxing people, or I'm sorry, cursing people with tarot cards from Five Below on Halloween. Credible researchers don't lie and say people are faking cancer for donations when they've already posted their cancer diagnosis and treatment plan. Credible researchers do not get caught lying over and over and over again about the various hoaxes, frauds, fakes of third phase of moon. A credible researcher wouldn't do that. So the evidence supports that you lied. You're not a credible researcher, and you never, ever, ever will be. Never. And you will never be respected here. And that's what drives him crazy. That's what drives him crazy, is that we have a reputation for good research. We have a reputation for doing good investigative work and bringing new information and evidence out here. And what new evidence has he brought out here? Oh, thanks for the latest super chat. No new evidence. Nothing. Now he's telling people on his Twitter what a great documentary this latest third phase of fake is, right? Great. And at some point, I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. At some point, everybody faces a crossroads and they have to make a decision. Are they going to be a moral and ethical person? Are they going to stand up for what's true and what's accurate and what's right and speak the truth? Or are they going to sell their soul for YouTube ad pennies and lie to everybody for over a year? We all know what road he chose now. And no matter how many times he clickbaits and puts my name in the title and then has zero evidence to share to support his false and defamatory and slanderous accusations about me, no matter how many times that he does that, some things won't change. It's very clear that he made his choice and that he is sticking to that choice. He is willing to kill that third phase are credible researchers. Third phase never hoaxed anything. Third phase haven't hoaxed anything in 5 years. They haven't hoaxed anything in 3 years. They never hoaxed anything on purpose. The entire narrative falls apart when the evidence is shown. And reality is reality. And he can live in some delusional fantasy world where he's going to get rich and famous being on the third phase of Loon team. Third phase of Moon are worthy of every bit of mockery they get and more. And so is he. And that's where we find ourselves. All right. So we're going to take comments and questions from the live chat. I think this is great. He does a show claiming I'm a liar, doesn't prove one. We just read for you 50 lies GUFON has told, right? 50 times he lied. And we have clips. We have the evidence to prove every one of those is true. He lied to his audience 50 times. And to his audience, I would say, how many times is he going to lie to you? And you're going to keep tuning into that? Think about it. How many women are in abusive relationships and they stay in them, right? Some people just want to be abused. Some people just want to be lied to, I guess. That's an abusive relationship. If you're in a relationship with anybody and they lie to you 50 times, it's really time to cut the cord. It's time to move on with your life. Find some other more credible sources of information and stop enabling the grift. UFOs is nothing but a grift for him. That's what it is. He's willing to do anything for easy money, right? And that's evidenced, right? That's evidenced by the lack of effort he puts into everything he does. I've known people like him throughout my life. They're the lazy slobs that do the least amount they possibly can to keep the job. That's what he's doing over there. He's doing the least amount of work he possibly can to keep those, few people that still somehow believe, right? How could you believe that he's the one telling the truth here? Have you seen those Third Phase of Moon documentaries he doesn't want you to see? Have you seen this latest video we just posted? Proving 100% that he knew the whole time he knew the whole time he's running around calling people pedos and attacking people's wives, children, and dead relatives, that they were right. And by the way, it's not just me. He's done this to multiple people. Anybody who speaks out about third phase gets that treatment from him. And, listen, I learned when I quit drinking that I really do have to just accept things I can't change. I can't change if stupid people are going to send him money so that he can lie to them. I can't change that stupid people are going to tune into him and not watch the documentaries or see the evidence. I can't change that stupid people are going to believe him when he says we haven't proved anything or we have no evidence. Then why won't he show you the evidence? Ask yourself, why will they not allow those videos to be on YouTube? They threatened everybody with copyright strikes. And gee, sorry, if I need to show the video, your video of the fake UFO to then explain to people how you faked it, it's fair use. They don't have the right to do that. They try to stomp all over everyone's free speech, stop everybody from seeing those videos. You know why? Because those two documentaries completely and totally destroy the false narrative being fed to you by GUFON and Third Phase of Fake. They can't let you see them. The last thing GUFON's going to do is allow his audience to see those, right? He's not going to let anybody see that. He's just going to sit there like a dummy saying they haven't proved anything. They don't have any evidence. There's 2 goddamn documentaries full of evidence. 2 documentaries, right? And ask yourself this, if they were really that credible, would we be able to easily put together 2 entire 2-hour documentaries showing all the stuff they faked over the years if they were credible, if they were on the honest side of things? The only way we would possibly be able to have that much material is if they have been hoaxers for decades, and they have. And again, I've learned that I can't. Some things I have to just accept. I gotta accept some things I can't change. I can't change stupid people that are cheering him on. By the way, you people, you're in his audience cheering him on while he makes fun of somebody's disability. What's standing outside like a crippled children's school making fun of kids in wheelchairs? And you're going to send him money for that? Because that's what you're supporting. Keep sending him money. You're supporting him lying to you 50 times. I just read a list of 50 times he lied to you. And you're going to still send him some money? You must like it. You must like it. Maybe that's his niche, right? That he'll just lie to his audience constantly. And I really am at that point where I don't care about this guy, but I will defend, like I did that spirit orb hoax video because he said I didn't explain it, right? Because I got to explain it to stupid people, right? Like I have to explain it so that a 5-year-old can understand how you make a spirit orb appear on a green screen. That's why I did that. And because he attacked Gorilla Gamer for having cancer, saying he faked his cancer because Gorilla Gamer called him out on that hoax. It's ridiculous. All right. My flock is everywhere. Says BB, thanks for everything, brother. Love you so much. Well, love for the chat room moderators. And we thank you all for your kindness, generosity, and support. I'll read any of the super chats that are coming in as they come in. I hope I didn't miss any. I will check and make sure in a moment. And we will thank My Flock is Everywhere. Oh, I'm on the wrong page. I will thank My Flock is Everywhere. Longtime show supporter. Thanks for your help and support.
Raise the cash,
All right, let me just check in with the live chat, make sure we didn't miss anything, and I apologize if we did. I'll check in with the super chats in the back door here, and yeah, let me just make sure. We don't ever we read every single super chat, and I don't ever like to oh, we missed My Flock is Everywhere. All right, we'll share this. I'm just going to read them all again to make sure that we didn't miss any. So I apologize. We'll read them. All right, we thank Gabberbeast. Or we thank My Flock is Everywhere for $2. Says Gabberbeast TV, love you, brother. You're based. My Flock is Everywhere. BB, thanks for everything, brother. Love you so much. My Flock is Everywhere. Gigi, thanks for everything. We love you, brother and family. Al Bundy calling me Eyeball Boy. Is that $25 Mexican? I'm sorry I missed that, but I hope you're not also making fun of me. Eyeball Boy, huh? Is it $25 Mexican to throw some shade? I guess. And Patrick Sheen with a kind of generous $9.99. Have we ever got a rank for Lou? He was an NCO. He never ran a Pentagon office as an NCO. Well, we believe that he was a specialist rank. Troll with a kind of generous US $3. Minacle 2016, the kind of generous $10. I really appreciate you mentioning me. Love all your content, especially your work ethic as being so active. Thanks for being an honest voice with these topics. And My Flock is Everywhere with kind of generous $2. Praise the cash. We're stronger together. And a super sticker from Deb from SAC. And that is all of them. Unless there's anything new, I will check with the live chat. I'm sorry if I did miss sharing some of them on the screen. I apologize. And the chat only lets me scroll so far back, so I apologize. Let me see if I can't find those few. In the meantime, we'll be taking comments and questions from the live chat. If you have any comments or questions for me, please put them in all capital letters. And we'll get to those. Now the live chat's going crazy here. All right, I scrolled all the way back to the very beginning, so I should be able to find these. Oh, yeah, Al Bundy. Well, it's $25 Mexican to call me Eyeball Boy. And if you were making fun of me, we'll take your money. People can make fun of me all they want, right? Especially if they're going to throw money at me while they're doing it, I guess, right? I don't know Al Bundy. I don't think we've ever seen him. Oh, and the trolls are here, right? Looks like a Biden supporter. Yeah. We know who that coward is, probably. Yeah, there's the GG one. So it looks like we got them all now. All right, I'm going to catch up to the current live chat, scrolling vigorously to catch up to you there in the live chat. We want to thank everybody. There we go. BB and Gabbard Beast TV. Okay, so we got them all. And any future ones I'll read as they come in. We're going to pop out the chat over here on our YouTube channel and put it right on the screen. So questions or comments from me, please put them in all capital letters, and we will be happy to answer comments. One second, let me just pop out this chat. There we go. We got it. Now we can share it on the screen. DJ D's, thanks for being a member, says, I like making fun of grifters, never truth tellers, seekers. Yeah, all good. And Foxy's Friends is here, so it's another great show. Stephen, thank you for your kindness. And we will share the YouTube live chat right here on our screen. And yeah, we're gonna we're going to take comments and questions from the live chat. So questions or comments for me, please put them on. Craig William. A lot of people have asked me. I promise you I will email her again. Craig William asks, are we having Megan Rose in here anytime soon? A lot of people have asked me to interview her. I will. I promise you that I will be sprechen Sie Deutsch. I took German in high school. Ich spreche Deutsch nicht wer geht's. I think I just said I speak German, but not very well. Okay. Trolley Troll says, and thanks for being a member, says, hey, Steve, if I ever get back to Philly, instead of hoagies or cheesesteaks, would you want to go to a place that serves good cioppino or linguine with clam sauce? Now, I like Italian food, so I'll eat anything, man. I'm not very fussy. Thanks for always having Gigi's back. Gigi is something amazing, as you are, Stephen, VP, Wall, Brandy, Tim. Love you all so much. Yeah, that's the least I could do. By the way, we should all be praying for him, not accusing him of faking his illness, right? When do we discuss Deutsche Bank or whatever? When do we discuss Guy Fart? Yeah, that fell apart too, that whole narrative, didn't it? Right? Yeah. Uh-oh. Looks like there's a little bit of fireworks in the live chat tonight. Yeah, let's try and be respectful of each other, even if we disagree, right? Yeah. Oh, there we go. UFO John Doe with a kind of generous $1.99. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. Did Jenny McCarthy ever get back to you? No, she did not, UFO John Doe, but thank you for being a member. Thank you for your kindness, and thank you for making me email her. I think I've emailed her about 6 times now because of you. I think we could give up, UFO John Doe. She's not coming, but thank you for helping us to praise the cat.
Praise the cash, praise the cash.
I thank all of our kind and generous Patreon supporters, kind and generous YouTube channel members, and Twitch subscribers for their kindness, generosity, and support, and all of you kind and generous super chatters, super stickers, and PayPal pledgers. It really does help. Thank you for your kindness. And we've got Gorilla Gamer in there with a kind and generous $5 super sticker. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. All of you very, very kind and generous folks. We appreciate all of you. At least I think we do. Why won't the bumper play?
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your generosity. Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
Wow, we're having a lot of glitches tonight. I apologize for that. Gonna have to, boy, all that plus the we had some weird issues with the multi-camera setup earlier, and I really don't know what the issue is. I'm going to try to do some troubleshooting later today, so I apologize for any of the technical wackadoo things that happened tonight. It happens. We're a live show. We roll with the punches. But thank you all for your kindness, generosity, and support. Gabber Beast TV says, Gufon lies so much about you. The only reason he would do this would be if Third Phase of Moon paid him, and he did admit to being on Third Phase of Moon's payroll. There's no way he would talk this much without being paid. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, and Mr. Ian says, I rendered an AI art scroller for the show today. Nobody has seen it yet. It's space-related and safe to play. I wrote the music. Yeah, I am going to play it on our way out. But it's 8 minutes long. So, I don't want to play it in the middle of the show, right? The Out There channel. I think you have less than me. Ask Steve to play it. I said I'm going to play it. Stop harassing me, Mr. Ian. I'm going to play it. It is cool. But he should stop harassing me. This is ridiculous. He said it 100 times in the live chat tonight, right? Greek internet is the worst. I wouldn't know. Yeah. Oh, look at that. My flock is everywhere. I don't see it yet. Why don't I see it in my chat yet? My Flock is Everywhere gifted 1 Truthseekers membership. Look at that. That's very kind of you. And we praise the cash.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your generosity. Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
Very, very kind. Very, very kind. Maybe that doesn't come up when you gift a membership. It doesn't come up in my chat, only if you become a member. So thanks, My Flock is Everywhere. Very kind of you. And we thank all of you for being members and Patreon supporters and all the help that you throw our way. It's really awesome to see so much support, especially from around the world. Somebody paid $25 Mexican today to make fun of my paralyzed eye. 3 guesses who that was, right? 3 guesses who that was. I love how that's all these guys got. Like, really? Like, if I was in a wheelchair, would you call me legless? Like, or something like that? Or gimpy? Like, really? Like, that's all you got? And like I said, even a half-blind man can see that third phase hoax are hoaxers. And Grifton is a hoax supporter. And what really gets to Gufon, I think, is that he knows that he made that wrong choice, right? And he will never, ever reach a level of being a respected researcher, ever, because of his association with third phase of moon. So what I told him originally when all this started was correct. He will never be a respected, credible researcher because of his association with them, and because of them, he had to lie 100 times to his audience. If you have to lie 100 times to your audience to support somebody, maybe you shouldn't support them anymore, right? Or maybe he's that clown who has so few friends that when somebody's a little friendly to him, he does go to the end of the earth, right? Like to defend them because he doesn't have friends, you know? I don't know. And the other thing is, you really should separate your friends from business associates. It's not a good idea to do business with friends. If it's a business for you, then you don't do business with your friends, because your friends, you will really, really screw yourself up, because your friends will do stupid things and then you're going to have to defend them. How many times have we seen Richie Grifton defending the stupidity of stupid things third phase of moon put up and hoaxed and faked, right? He didn't have to do any of that. He could have said they're their own people, that, you know, they have to answer for that. I'm not going to speak for them or something, not even sever the relationship. He didn't do that. He was all chips in, right? Going to bat. You really can see more and more people have enough with all the UFO claims without any proof. Next step is they will make fake videos with all the new AI software. You're absolutely right. And we're going to show you some examples of what may be coming later in the broadcast. Mr. Ian, well, I can tell him about it, right? Mr. Ian? Mr. Ian has Steve the AI. I'm not making this up. Mr. Ian has Steve the AI. It's an AI. I think it's based on Midjourney, right, Mr. Ian? That he has been slowly and steadily upgrading, working on building an interface for. When he first showed it to me, it would only do AI images, still images. Now he's got it making full-on AI generated videos and many, many other things. And it's going to be running locally on my machine soon, I hear. It's running on his machine, and I can log into it. Just amazing work that Mr. Ian has done on our very own AI named Steve. Now, it's interesting. I didn't tell him to name it Steve. His son did. And I don't think his son even knew that he was friends with a guy named Steve or whatever. He just picked that name. But isn't it funny? I'll take credit. It's my AI. It's the Steve AI. It's mine. Okay. It's my AI. So, yeah. Amazing some of the stuff that he's got coming out of it. We've shared with you some of the still images it's generating. He's been training it over and over and over again. And we will definitely be sharing more from this new AI. See, we're getting powered up with new tools, new capabilities, new things that we can share. And I think it's really, really great. The Out There channel said, I hope I could fix the noise in the field, but I'm outgunned each month as a new person to start a channel and add more noise. Yes, Paul from the Out There channel does a lot of great debunking of the fraudsters and the fakers, but there's just too many of them. And I've often said, Paul, it's like playing whack-a-mole. You knock 4 down and 8 more pop up. You're never done with the grifters. The grifters are everywhere. And now we can see who some of those grifters are very, very clearly. If you've been caught lying to your audience 50 times and people can prove that with clips, then you're a grifter. Congratulations. And, you know, I should mention that occasionally I seriously consider just turning off the monetization on my channel here because it is a attack vector. You know, we've had stupid people say things to me like, well, you're no different than them because you're making money. Yeah. Well, the percentages are way off, you know. Stephen Greer makes millions of dollars with a documentary full of lies, and we make, you know, $7 showing people all the lies in that thing. You know, it's apples and oranges. It's really not the same. And someday I'm going to get annoyed enough with that attack vector to just turn it off. Now, what are you going to say? I'm not doing this for any money. And by the way, unlike Rich, I don't pay my bills with money from the show. Never have, never will, never. I pay the show's bills with the show's money. You know, we pay for StreamYard. We pay for software. We pay for Spreaker. We pay for the website hosting. We pay for our Google Drive to share data with. We pay for, you know, whatever we need, equipment, but I'm not paying my electric bill. I'm not paying my cable bill with the show's money. He is. So, you know, he can say whatever he wants about me. I don't need the money like Rich does. He can't eat unless he does the super chat shuffle. And what a sad world to live in that you got to do the super chat shuffle with a piss poor show, poorly prepared, no notes, no scripts, no real things to share other than, hey, I went on Twitter 20 minutes before the show. And then one of the things he does that a lot of people have commented on, and I think it's funny, is he titles his show something, and then he only talks about whatever the title of the show is for 30 or 40 seconds because he has not prepared anything to say. He has no notes, no research, no script. He just puts the title in there to get you to tune in. And then he's piss poor, ill prepared to even talk about whatever he titled the show on. I mean, again, best of luck to him, right? Best of luck. That's what I could say. He's going to need it because he will never, ever, mark my words, he will never, ever be respected here. He will never, ever be respected as a researcher or an investigator. He will forever essentially just be, he will essentially just be a third phase holder on, you know, a third phase hoax promoter. Congratulations, you know, and that's a sad thing to be in the world. Like, imagine, if I could pick like what would be hell on earth for me, imagine being in his position, and every time Third Phase comes out with more fake shit or another shitty documentary, he's got to defend them. Yeah, that's pretty much my definition of hell, because how can you defend this with a straight face and expect people to believe it? Like, how dumb is your audience, though, if they even possibly believe that? But again, very carefully crafted narrative. Oh, Third Phase Moon changed their ways, right? Oh, except for that video like a little more than a year ago where they purposely faked one, right? Yeah. Oh, somebody sent that to them. Yeah, they knew it was fake. They were told it's fake. They used it anyway. So the narratives all fall apart. and they can't let anybody see those documentaries because then they'll know how wrong they are and what liars they are to say that, especially Rich, they don't have any evidence. Really, dude? There's 2 documentaries. And by the way, I'm going to go over to Odyssey here because we have to put it on Odyssey. Or no, you know what? I'll do it on Rumble. I'll post the Rumble links to those documentaries, and hopefully we'll be able to get those, and I will put them into the sometimes I forget, like Rumble. Oh yeah, it does. It does have a search. Search is terrible, but it has one. Oh yeah. Yeah, we have wow, somehow it's uploaded 3 times. I don't know what that's about, but that must have been back when we were having problems. I'll put the Third Phase of Moon documentary in the description of the video. There's 2 of them, so I'm going to put 2 links there. It looks like I don't know that I never put the second one on Rumble. I'll have to fix that tonight. But you can also follow me on Twitter. It's at Stephen King. I broadcast both of these documentaries every day. And that's another thing. Rich is so, he doesn't realize that people on Twitter, that's where people go if they're interested in UFOs. And everybody on Twitter is seeing these documentaries. Let me put it under the video that we shared today. The Third Phase of Moon exposed, and link to our Rumble, the Rumble video. And then I got to go over to Odyssey to get the other link. See, this is what they wanted. They wanted you to not be able to see this on YouTube. So they copyright claimed the first creator, Sapiens Culture, who made the first documentary, and threatened to copyright claim me for the second documentary, right? All right, and now I have the other one. So that's 2 free documentaries. And by the way, Third Phase of Moon made hundreds of thousands of dollars with all these hoaxes. I'll just put Third Phase second documentary. So they made tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars defrauding the public with all of these fake UFO videos. We didn't make anything on the documentaries. Nothing. Neither myself or Sapiens Culture made a single dime. So who's he calling a scam? We did that as a public service for free to inform the public of who's selling false information, fake narratives, misinformation, disinformation. We put a lot of time, both of us put a lot of time into those documentaries. They're 100% free. Now, they may be monetized on Rumble or Odyssey, but I've never received $1 from Odyssey or Rumble yet. So people can say whatever they want to. At some point you have to say, oh, Steve Cambion and Sapiens Culture both put 100 hours of editing into those documentaries each, at least, right? Research, editing, whatever. And then they made nothing once those documentaries were put together. And then the time to promote them, to talk about them on the show, to point people. We got something on that one, like 3,000 or 4,000 views on Odyssey, which means that would have got 20 or 50, who knows how many, 20,000, 30,000 views or more on YouTube. But they won't let it on YouTube because Third Phase of Moon are terrified of those documentaries and people seeing them because they're intellectual weaklings and cowards. They know that they fake so many videos that they cannot withstand debate with someone like me. So they threaten copyright strikes and copyright claims in order to force us to put them on alternate platforms so less people would see them. And I said before, I'm thinking about just posting them here. Do what you're going to do, Third Phase. Do what you're going to do. GUFON. But I'll tell you right now, if I post those videos and anybody copyright claims me, then I'm going directly to YouTube about third phase of moon. I'm going directly to them. And we'll see what happens, right? All right, questions or comments, please put them in all capital letters. It's the $sign on the line. Check DM on Twitter. All right, 1 second. Let me check over there. I think you meant Facebook. Please know where you're sending me, especially for live. No, didn't see a DM from you, Sarah, or Facebook for that matter. I will. People are asking me. Okay, and also we have to promote for our upcoming week here. Let me show you some fun things. Oh, we only got one. We've got tomorrow's show though. All right, 1 second here. Let me. Tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we will have Jeff Knox, who is pretty amazing. This guy's got an incredible command of the history of UFOs. Every day he posts what happened in UFO history on Twitter. He is a walking encyclopedia. So we're going to be doing UFOs throughout history with Jeff Knox tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also Thursday, we have Octuple OG, that humorous fellow who outed the Journey to Truth podcast's fake pedo whistleblower, Navy whistleblower. That, by the way, he was never in the Navy and he was a convicted child molester. And Journey to Truth was calling him a government whistleblower. See the narrative versus the reality? We're going to see a lot more of narrative versus reality. Oh, you were telling Ian to check. I got confused. Yeah. Gabber translated Third Phase of Moon hoax documentaries into Chinese for free. Took me almost 3 days to translate one doco for free. I got 16,000 views, and all of China knows Third Phase of Moon are fake. Hoax, no good, bad guys. Worth my effort. All right. Well, at least thank you for doing that. We appreciate it. And by the way, there was a group effort to get these documentaries more widely distributed and more recognized. And I'm glad for everybody that took part in that effort, including Paul and from the Out There channel and Gabber Beast TV and others. We all work together. We appreciate all of you that helped to do that. So yeah, we did our due diligence today. We are gonna bounce on out of here, but don't go anywhere yet because oh, I didn't even play our bumpers. I'll just tell you quickly, we're a viewer-supported show. So there's two things you can do to help us. One is to throw money at us. Become a Patreon supporter for as little as $1 a month. Become a channel member for $5 a month. You get all the Patreon benefits or more. It's just $5. You get all the Patreon benefits that we post, plus you get some member badges and some extra goodies on YouTube. You could become a subscriber on Twitch. And if you have an Amazon Prime account, you become a subscriber on Twitch for free. And by the way, I want to thank all you Twitch subscribers because we got our first check from Twitch, and it was a good one. Praise the cash. Praise the cash. Praise the cash. We got a Jeff Bezos check this month, and it was a good one. I was surprised. Doing great over there. Thank you to all you Twitch subscribers. You can, if you have an Amazon Prime account, give any Twitch streamer a subscription. All you do is link. First of all, if you don't have a Twitch account, make one. Then go in your Amazon account and link your Twitch account. Then when you go over to Twitch, go to our YouTube channel. It's twitch.tv/Truthseekers show and hit that subscribe button. There'll be a button where you can use your Prime account to give a subscription. Doesn't cost you anything. And we get free money from Jeff Bezos, so we love it. Otherwise, you can send super chats. The instructions for PayPal are in the description of the video. And we thank all of you for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. Finally, one great way to help us is to like, comment, subscribe, and share these videos. Share these videos on your social media. Send them to some of your friends that like strange and esoteric topics like this. Or one of the other ways that you could really, really help us is watch one more. Watch one more video. Maybe not tonight, maybe tomorrow while you're at work, maybe while you're driving somewhere. Watch one more video. It really, really does help us with the YouTube algorithm because it identifies people coming back for more. It kind of cranks you up. YouTube algorithm then says this must be a good content creator because people are coming back and watching one more. So please do watch one more. And finally, I would remind you that all of you people wanted shirts forever and ever and ever. People wanted shirts. We have shirts. Here's Truthseekers shirt. This is just our logo shirt. We have all kinds of different Truthseekers merchandise now available in 2 separate merchandise stores in the description of this video. The first is an Amazon store link. I'm told that's much faster, but it's only available for shipping in some countries. So if you try the Amazon store first and it won't ship to your country, go back to the description of the video and use the Redbubble store. That ships everywhere. All kinds of merchandise. And thanks. We've had, if you buy something, take a picture of yourself, we'll share it on the show. We appreciate all of you buying the merchandise because I'm getting a merchandise check this month too. Praise the cash. We're just getting new checks and new checks. Praise the cash, right? And I'm sure somebody will try to turn this all against me. And you guys know that I joke about the money. I really have considered just turning it all off. But I like that I'm not spending my family's money on the show. The show has its own money. So if the show needs something, we cover it from there. And, I'm not paying my bills or eating out of this. I don't think I could. I don't live in a trailer. I got a huge house, right? But it is what it is. We are thankful for the support because, if there was a big expense for the show, I don't really want to have that discussion with my wife. Family money should be family money. And the show money should be the show money. And that's the way we've done it. We have a separate account. By the way, if I'm in a bad mood this week, it's because I'm doing my taxes right now. I'm 1/3 done. I think I need one more expense report. Yeah. I need one more expense report and one more income report. YouTube is easy. They just send you a form that says, here's how much you made. But then you got to add up the Patreon money. I'm not going to be in a good mood this week. Especially, it's just a lot of nonsense taxes, right? And then seeing how much I have to pay them, right? Seeing how much I have to pay them puts me in a bad mood. It's not just doing all this. Once a month, an Amazon Prime account can gift a subscription for free once every month. Yeah. So you can help us praise the cash and it'll cost you nothing, but it'll cost Jeff Bezos. I'm going to make a video. We're going to take Jeff Bezos for $1 million. That's my plan, Gabber Beast TV. There's got to be 1 million people that have an Amazon Prime account that'll throw that subscription our way, right? So all we need is one great month like that. Get 1 million people to do that. That would be awesome. Small things matter to support YouTube channels. Yes, I absolutely agreed with that. All right. And Mr. Ian is getting impatient. He wants us to share his video, which I'm happy to do, of this AI, especially it's named Steve the AI. That's weird, right? A little weird. But it's coming along, and he's got a video. This is called Space Adventure. It's about 8 minutes long, so we're going to play the show out with it. We want to thank each of you for coming tonight. We want to thank our kind and generous benefactors, you Twitch subscribers, you Patreon supporters, you channel members, super chatters, Super sticker purchasers, you super thanks people. Yes, you can send us money on YouTube, even if you're watching the replay. Just hit that thanks button on the video. And you PayPal pledgers, we thank you. We thank all of you for coming and being a part of our wonderful live audience. We thank the YouTube chat room moderators, and we thank Spooky for the wonderful graphics as always. I'm going to do one final check just to make sure that we didn't miss anything. Oh, I hate it when that happens. You ever like type the wrong thing for a common site and you get a scam site? I hate those scam sites. Why are they allowed on the internet to begin with? Some of these things are like obvious scams, right? No, we are all caught up. Great. So I'm going to bounce on out of here. And we are going to share Ian's wonderful AI video, which should be a taste of more things to come. So that's all we got for you, friends. We'll be back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I hope you'll be here with us. Until next time, friends, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless.
Bye.